Alright, yo, what is going on? And we are talking again about the fucking Israel shit. So somebody linked me these videos. I watched a little bit of them and I thought like I might as well react to this on stream. And what I'm seeing a lot from this is they're really pushing one narrative with the Jews. It's going after the Jews, and they really seem to have like this false equivalence. Like oh well people seeing this as wait okay. Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, it's cool. So I'm not I'm not gonna look into like DMs. I don't know if this guy's cool with me showing that, but they seem to have this idea that what's it called, that like qualification, what we're looking for in like what matters in this was, oh well, are these people Jewish, or are they Muslims? If they're Jewish, what they do, yeah, that's unjustified. But yeah, if a Muslim does it, then it's justified. But yeah, wait,
You're
let's
probably
look
aware
at this view.
of what's been going on in Israel and Gaza. And Rashid, what I find interesting about all of this is that for years there's been a war in Yemen, and Saudi Arabia and the UAE.
I mean, back when that happened, like that was under Trump, and like he's going to say, oh, nobody cared about that. And I don't really know, but again, the media does tend a lot of the time, whichever way it goes. He's gonna be like, oh well, look, the media really didn't care about the genocide in Yemen then, and now they're caring all of a sudden. Dude, look at the media over here. Like, people are trying to say, and they've been telling me in my comment section, oh, dude, you're just going with, like, your fucking party. Yeah, you're just spewing these partisan points, going full Democrat. Dude, this isn't a partisan issue. Like, my opinion is in the fucking minority here. Like, what do you have? You have the Republicans all fucking simping for Israel, literally like tossing aside the First Amendment just to break the fucking simp meter. Oh yeah, we're really fucking going all in for Israel, or fuck the First Amendment, anti-BDS laws, those are perfectly fine. Meanwhile, what you have on the left, Joe Biden, that's like the ultimate Democrat. He represents the Democratic Party. We stand by Israel unconditionally. Where the fuck is the partisanship, dude? I don't see it. Like, both sides are something for Israel. I don't see why the fuck people are going like, oh well, the media. No, the media seems pretty what's it called? They seem pretty unified on this issue, which they shouldn't be. And the status quo on this is, yeah, let Israel genocide however many people they want. Enough is enough. No, there's no enough. Enough is when Israel says it's enough. What are we at? Like probably 10,000 civilians dead now. Doesn't matter, dude. Keep going until Hamas is all wiped out. But what's going on here? Yo, what's them?
Yo, sorry, I'm in the middle of making
My live
a
stream even
big
still.
dinner right now. What's up?
Yes, somebody just linked me some videos about like fucking Israel, and I'm like responding to them. I don't know if you wanted to like join in, cause yeah.
Oh, live. Okay. I
Mm.
mean, I could call, but I can only like speak while I'm doing stuff. So
Oh yeah, for sure. You don't have to. I was just wondering if you
okay,
wanted
yeah,
to.
I'll come back later.
I for sure. Yeah, so
Are bombing Yemen, and they're killing civilians, and
yeah, both of that is bad. Killing civilians is bad.
bombing weddings, and I never hear a word about this from the media. As soon as something involves Israel, it's international news.
Yeah, so people, especially Ben Shapiro, I've seen, like, they try to make this narrative that, oh, the West, like, the media in the West is all just pro-Palestine, fuck Israel, just anti-Semitic shit, just the West all hates the Jews. That's, like, pretty much what Ben Shapiro's line is, and, like, I only watched, like, a minute of both of these. It seems like that's what they're trying to push. No, the media, especially mainstream media, they're pretty unified on this, and they're all pro-Israel. Joe Biden supports Israel unconditionally. That's the left. The right, it's like, look at Donald Trump, look at Ron DeSantis. Like, what is there to say on this? Like, this isn't an issue we're split on.
Every single day for the next 3 to 6 months. So any ideas on what's going on in there? Seems to be some different standards going on.
Not only that, you would not see.
Yeah, so the standards are you do not go after innocent people you can go after guilty people. Like that's where the disconnect from comes from. That's where we draw the line. You can like retaliate, but not against innocents, against guilty people. Like they're trying to set the standard that, oh well, what they're saying is Muslims, you can't fucking go after that. That's pretty much their perspective. But
protests all over the world, in UK, in London, and New York, when the Yazidis were sold as sex slaves. Nobody
yeah,
did
so I
that.
wasn't really into politics around that time, so I can't speak to any of that. But I'm sure all the people who I watch, at least, who are now condemning like, I remember they were, and they keep talking every so often, bringing up, yeah, the genocide in Yemen, because Trump funded that, by the way. But
When the
yeah, that was bad
Christians
too.
in Mosul, in Iraq, they were kicked out of their city. Nobody did any protests in
I don't
UK,
know what that
or
is.
you didn't see hundreds of thousands of people. You didn't see those universities
So like, really what they're trying to say is the media, everyone is biased against the Jews and biased for just the Muslims. They just, if you're a Muslim, you're a protected class. That's sort of the narrative they're trying to build up here, that the West is trying to build up the narrative that protected class. If you're a Muslim, you could do whatever you want, and retaliation against you is just fucking discrimination. But if you're Jewish, well, if you do anything wrong, then that matters. No, we condemn the October 7th attack. Everybody, every reasonable person does, especially in the United States. I'm sure in Palestine there are some people who support Hamas, and fucking, like, a pretty dumb idea, because Hamas is oppressing them even more than fucking Israel is. But in the United States, at least, I don't know why people are trying to pretend like they're Hamas supporters. Nobody fucking supports Hamas. We just don't support terrorism.
making protests and signs against Muslims attacking Christians and asking jizya from them or to convert to Islam. You only see it now because...
Yeah, I guess you're probably seeing different perspectives from different people as well. And yeah, maybe, like, I didn't even know about any of this. I don't know the specifics. For all I know, like, this isn't exact. But, like, okay, if you're saying it, probably. I don't know. What scale was this on? How many... And, of course, if that happens, we condemn it too. Like, and I'm sure there are people condemning a bit of all of this. Like, just because there isn't a huge outcry. Like, I don't know why he's setting this false equivalence that, like, if somebody is condemning this specific thing and you don't see them all over condemning, like, maybe they didn't know it happened. Maybe they don't just have a double standard. Maybe they so happen to see this thing going on with Israel and they're like, well, that's bad. Genocide of, what, 9,000 plus people who are, like, civilians? Over 90% civilian casualty rate? Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Really, we don't care about the victims because we care only who is the perpetrator.
Yeah,
if it's a Jew, then we care. You mentioned Yemen, for example.
No.
It has been since 2011.
Dude, like, I've been, like, dude, I sort of have this thing a lot of the time where I just, like, I get my words mixed up, and once I forget what the fuck word I'm gonna use, I just, dude, I just start talking and talking, but I'm not really saying anything. So let me look at, okay, nah, yeah, whatever, dude. Okay, fuck it, dude. But bro, where's my okay, there we go. So yeah, dude, the identifier that we used like, call somebody, oh well, this yeah, this is what matters in your actions. It's not about whether these people are Muslims or Jewish. We're not playing identity politics here. What we're playing is, who are you going after? Innocent people or guilty people. And, like, dude, people, like, I hate how these people keep pointing out, like, oh, bro, like, dude, yeah, you clearly condemn Israel's like, acts of terrorism, their genocide, but you condemn Hamas. It's like, they keep asking that as if people didn't condemn Hamas. The reason why you don't see these people condemning Hamas as much is because that's trivial. Everybody is condemning Hamas. There wasn't like bipartisan fucking consensus on Hamas good, but there is bipartisan consensus on Israel good. Why? Because they have a big fucking lobby. They have all the money in the world. They have the means to to retaliate without committing a genocide in the process. They have everything they need, and they
explaining the situation. And as far as I've been able to gather from watching news programs and especially from watching Muslim videos explaining the situation, here's what happened.
Yeah.
For many, 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 many centuries, you had a group of people right there in Palestine. They're called the Palestinians. And they're there minding their own business. And then all of a sudden, a big group of Jews show up, push them off their land, kick them off their land, force them into camps.
Okay, well, first of all, okay, we sort of know what he's going to say. So, firstly, he's sort of acting like Jews, Muslims. It doesn't really matter. There was a bunch of people who, he's really trying to push these labels as if, none of this all happened, as he said, centuries ago. So that's the most important thing in this. That doesn't matter. None of this matters because none of the people you supposedly did this hundreds of years ago. Do you think any of these people are alive today? Do you think any of the people alive today carry out blame for doing this shit when they weren't fucking alive? It's all like blaming the Hamas attack on the civilians who probably didn't even know that definitely didn't know that the Hamas attack was going to happen before it had already happened, and they were suffering the consequences for it. Where it doesn't matter how this started, who's in the right. I mean, it's like that is in the past. This that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't change. That doesn't make anything more right or wrong. That's just irrelevant.
Right there.
Yeah.
In Palestine.
Yeah, so that happened back then. None of the people alive today are involved in this, so this doesn't apply to anyone alive today. This just doesn't apply to us.
They're called the Palestinians, and they're there minding their own business. And then all of a sudden,
so none of this matters. How it started doesn't matter. How we fix it today is the only thing that matters.
Jews show up.
Like these people, it's not even like you could even punish them since they're fucking dead centuries ago.
Push them off their land, kick them off their land. Force them into camps.
So this might as well have happened, whether this narrative is true or not. Completely irrelevant.
And then Jews take over.
Yeah, Jews. And then, of course, that's the other... he keeps pushing this now. Israel took over, okay? They happen to be Jews, and that's why people were making this assimilation. That's why there's so much hatred, because we're just labeling them that. Israel took over. Yeah, of course, they were Muslims over there because they're in the fucking Middle East. What the hell do you... But, yeah, okay.
Oppressing everybody.
Anyway.
And so now you've got these people who are forced off their land by Jews. They're forced off their land, and now they're freedom fighters just trying to get their land back. And who...
No, now they're fucking dead because trying to get their land back. If they happen to see their land in their own hands, they're fucking dead. That's just so many layers. Wait. Just so many layers of false equivalence. Firstly, acting like these people are the same people. No, they are not the same people. And, this whole thing with the title, the Jews, bro, no.
Who would deny a person?
Israel didn't do that. The Jews didn't do that. That's all a false narrative. No Jew alive today is responsible for any of the history that led us to this point. And it's not the Jews, it's Israel. The people alive today are just struggling the fucking outcome of this. They're struggling through the occupation, the police state. They're struggling through the segregation that Israel has brought upon them. They never saw their land be free.
Person or right.
This is all just... And they aren't Muslims. They're just people who... They're probably Muslims, but they're just people who happen to live there before. Just so many layers of just false...
To try and get your land back once you've been kicked off your land by what are now occupiers. That's the version of events I'm getting from the
Yeah,
news now.
occupiers again that died a fucking long time, dude. I'm repeating myself. I'm gonna try to.
Do you think how accurate do you think that is?
I can add to it. They also give an example. If somebody comes to your house and take over all the rooms in your house and leave you in a small corner, what are you going to do?
Okay, but dude, we already get that. Like you're saying, this isn't what happened. Like you're bringing that up to, like, clarify or to debunk it. It's like, dude.
And
Why the fuck are you trying to make this compare? We already know what you're saying, and we already know that you don't believe that. You're about to try and debunk it. We get it, dude. We get your comparison. We get you think it's not true. Okay, dude, move on.
Different examples, or kick you out of your home and took it.
Yeah, that's not self-defense, right? I mean,
it's self-defense.
Self-defense.
The problem, it's not true. It's like the Jews, they came from Mars or from another planet as aliens, and suddenly they
These
popped
people
up.
actually think that sovereignty over your land, like your citizenship, it's something you inherit. Like you have rights to it from fucking inheritance. Like if your ancestors stole something from like their ancestors, it's like you was told that, dude. You don't like inheritance works such that if something belonged to your ancestors back then, like you inherited, but like you're not morally owed that. Like dude, I sort of see where they're going with that. They think that the human rights that you get with citizenship, you're sort of owed that in the same way that you inherit like property, you inherit human rights. No, everybody should have human rights.
There, or the version
and everybody should get to have any land they choose, go anywhere they want.
they give is like they came from Europe.
Yes.
That's not totally true. You have to say some of them came from Europe. Some of them were there
What does
all
it
the
matter?
time.
So some of them, like, bro. Again, none of these people are alive today. This, like, we're talking about a conflict that's happening today, right now. Why y'all talking about the people back then? What exactly did that? Doesn't matter.
And
Doesn't
some of
fucking
them
matter,
we
dude.
kicked from our Arab countries.
Wait, just to be clear, the Jews.
I swear to God, like they pretty much how they're gonna set this up is trying to say, oh well, here are the sins. Here's where the sins lie. These people committed the sins. No, actually, these people. Let me correct the record real quick. No, those aren't the people who committed the sins. Those are the people who committed the sins. It wasn't the Jews. It was the Muslims. It's like, well, it doesn't fucking matter because they aren't alive today. And he's just gonna slump this whole thing with like, it's not the Jews, it's the Palestinians. The blame, like that. This wasn't the sin of the fucking Israel. Dude, like they're just gonna frame this whole thing as just shifting blame. Oh, it wasn't really the Jews, it was the Palestinians. Except that what they don't get is that these fucking titles of Jew and Palestinian, like, that doesn't apply because, as they mentioned earlier, centuries ago. Like, what, as long as you keep having these titles trying to, like, just discuss the blame, that's pretty much what this episode is gonna. I mean, I've watched 2.5 minutes, but I'm guessing they're gonna try to correct the record as to who the blame goes towards, the Jews or the Palestinians. Except that is meaningless because there are many different Jews, many different Palestinians, and none of them who are alive today. Dude, I'm fucking just repeating with you. Fuck, dude, let me go get my weed and my vape, because this is... Well... Yeah, okay. Fucking whatever, dude. I'm into some... fucking dog shit right here, bro. Let's see. Stream 0 viewers as expected. Okay.
There now. The Jews were there now.
Yeah.
You're saying they came from different areas. Some, there had always just been Jews there. There had always been Jews there.
Right.
Some Jews moved there from Europe, and some Jews moved there when they were kicked out of Muslim countries.
That's right.
And so it's kind of a mixture
Okay,
of...
dude. I mean, I'm 2 minutes in. Should I skip over that because who does the land belong? It doesn't matter. It's like if you're talking about if your qualification for who the land belongs to is who would have rightfully inherited it. It's like the past is what it is, whether or not it's like you can't really change it in either way. Jerusalem is sacred to both the Jews and the Muslims. So, and that, like, to both religions, Israel, and Jerusalem specifically is sacred. So, like, it doesn't really matter. That's at the heart of this conflict, not who's right or wrong, but to whom this land is sacred.
Various
Right.
groups there.
By the end of the 19th century,
But yeah, like, who does the land belong to? It really doesn't matter at the end of the day, because they're just gonna try to use past events to justify, like, who should have rightfully inherited it. Except that your inheritance, you don't earn inheriting anything. And if it's inheriting human rights, such as the right to not be segregated under a police state, everyone should inherit that right. That should be a God-given right, as people call it. That should be a right guaranteed to you by birth. Just like in America, you have that right. Like, why are people so attached to the American dream? Why do people in America value that so much? In fact, we use that as a unity. Oh well, that's what keeps Americans together. They are all bound by this American dream that we all care about so much. Well, why does that bind us together? Why do we care about it so much? Well, maybe not because we're Americans, but because this thing is valuable to all human beings. Your, like, right to self-determination. People tend to want to move to America because this isn't an American intrinsic, like, value that we have. This isn't some that, like, some that differentiates Americans from all the other, like, savage animals in the world or whatever the fuck. It's like, this isn't a specifically America thing. This is what made America so successful. And this is why people from all over the world are trying to migrate here. Because they share that value. They share our values. We want to, and we deserve to have the right to self-determination. We all want that. That's not an American thing that binds us together as Americans. That's what binds us all as human beings together. And that's why these immigrants are trying to come over here. Not because they don't belong and because they understand these values and they care about these values. So, like, who should get to inherit it? Everyone should get to inherit that specifically that. And it's like, this isn't something you have to, like, have this whole fuss about. Oh well, who's going to get to have Jerusalem? Jerusalem is a pretty big place. It's not like a house, right? You can both live there. You can both live there and learn to, like, sharing is caring, right? Isn't that like, as I pointed out, a big principle most religions praise for good fucking reason? Again, like, that's a good thing. Maybe practice that. Like, learn to share the fucking
there were
land.
more than 25,000 Jews in that piece of land.
So long before Israel.
Okay,
Long before.
yeah,
Before
I don't think I'm gonna bother one. Okay, I guess this might be worth watching it. Let me go back.
see it now because really we don't care about the victims because we care only who is the perpetrator.
Yeah, no, so that's, again, like, that's really the framing he was trying to go with. Oh, it's only especially the media in the West, they only care if it's the Jews. Again, the media in the West is very biased for Israel, in favor of Israel. Why Israel lobby? And also getting called anti-Semitic. Everybody seems sort of afraid of that, right? But like, this isn't about who's carrying out the attacks. If Israel had just defended itself, like back when October 7th had happened, all of the people who are now saying, "Oh my God, you're committing a genocide, stop this," guess what they were saying? We stand with Israel. Israel, like, yeah, they should defend themselves. They have every right. Yeah, we were standing with Israel when they had just been bombarded. Now people are pointing out, oh well, having friends, being friends with, being an ally doesn't just mean standing by a country when they're getting attacked, but standing by them when they retaliate. So you should just stand by your allies, whatever they do. If they commit a genocide, oh well, it's like, is this teams or is this about morals? Like, what the hell is the point of being the, like, most the country with the most pressure, the strongest country, the ultimate, the fucking greatest country on earth, the United States? What's the point of that if you're not gonna follow your moral compass? This is all about teams. If your team is committing genocide, oh well, what do you want to tell you? What do you want me to tell you? It's our team. Like, they can't really be doing anything wrong. No, we have all the pressure in the world. We can apply that. Israel has a bunch of shit. They have free healthcare, we don't have free healthcare. We like giving this money to. I'd venture to guess the money that should be spent on free healthcare, things that actually matter to us over here, we're putting it into this just making a giant military. But when it comes to actually using this power and influence that we've built on, what's the point of being the greatest nation on earth if we're just gonna cuck up to a small country like Israel when they're committing a genocide? Do we just have this title just for the sake of it? If we're not gonna use it to do right, what's the point of having it? Maybe this title belongs somewhere else. Then it's like, dude.
It's a Jew, then we care. You
Yeah,
mentioned
if it's a Jew, we care. No, we care if it's something bad happening. Again, when October 7th had just happened, nobody was now saying ceasefire, stop massacring people, stop this genocide. Nobody back then was celebrating like some people in Palestine were, and we don't agree with them. We agree that like the only thing we agree with these people on is that they shouldn't be killed for thought crimes, even if they have just horrible opinions. Even if they stand by their leader's choice, they didn't carry out their leader's choice, and there's a big difference between standing by your leader's terrorist attacks and committing the terrorist attacks. Nobody was killed by people wishing death upon Jews. Like, that didn't happen. No, like, none of this tragedy that happened, nobody was killed by people like standing by Hamas in their tweets or in their anything. Like, the only thing that is responsible for tragedy, it's not speech, it's violence. Who's carrying out the acts of violence? Who's bombarding? Who carried out the Hamas attack? People who were on Twitter who were like praising their approval and shit. No, people who were actually committing violence. So this speech, no, you shouldn't get bombarded just for your speech. But people over here in the United States, like the people you're talking about with like the Western media and shit, people in the United States, they were all condemning Hamas and supporting Israel back when this genocide hadn't started. But yeah, like again, they tend to say, oh well, we only care if it's like the Jews doing it, but if it's like the Muslims doing it, yeah, they get a pass because identity politics, that's just a huge thing in the West. Again, people are scared of getting called anti-Semitic, and people on the left are also scared of getting called anti-Semitic. They're usually the ones who are trying to like throw that title around on people because they know how much of an impact that has. They definitely don't want to be getting called anti-Semites, but they are not overwhelmingly pro Palestine. They
in Yemen, for example, it has been since 2011. It's almost 11 years.
Give me that shit.
And now we have 150,000 deaths because of that war. 11,000 of them are children.
And you can. It's very easy to find the pictures.
I don't know if are they talking about the genocide in Yemen. Like, again, yeah, that was also bad. I don't know anything about it. I simply wasn't into politics back then. But I think if you ask any reasonable person, I don't see what's the point in making these comparisons. Oh well, there's like, I don't know. Israel right now is killing like a bunch of most of them. Again, like the life expectancy in Gaza is abysmal because they are treated horribly. So like. Apparently, over 50%, almost 50% of the people in Gaza are under the age of 18. So, like, a lot of them are kids. Israel is bombing a bunch of kids, like, apparently over 60% of them. I don't know why they grouped women and children together. Civilians are innocent, over 90%. But if you care about children so much, apparently over 40% of these people that, Israel was mass murdering were children. Oh, but how about this other genocide? What you're talking about? Like, what does that have to do with anything? I'm sure if you ask any reasonable person who's saying, oh, well, this genocide is wrong because they're killing a bunch of innocent civilians and it's wrong to kill a bunch of innocent civilians. Yeah, if you point out, hey, in Yemen, 150,000, whatever you said, civilians a bunch of babies. Like, of course they're gonna condemn that too. Like, why are you gonna assume, oh, well, I didn't hear you, whoever you is, condemn, y'all must not care. Like, again, if you're gonna say this is the narrative, you have to bring up specific incidences. Like, this is what Ben Shapiro does. Like, they always, like, that's another thing, trying to smash in people who support Palestinian human rights was just supporters of Hamas. Like, so many people now in the West, again, this is the West status quo, not free Palestine. That's definitely not the status quo within either party, but the status quo seems to be growing towards, if you support any amount of Palestinian human rights, any humanitarian standards whatsoever, like, yeah, you're just an anti-Semite if you support Hamas. Like, dude, you cannot find any examples really of like people with influence and influential social media platform like condemning the attacks on like civilians who weren't also condemning October 7th and who are praising Hamas. Like, these people are trying to say, oh well, these pro-Palestinian supporters, they're all supporting Hamas. They can't give us any fucking clips of them supporting Hamas. Like, they just say, oh, they just support Hamas so much. They support. Nobody is doing that. Look at Joe Biden. Apparently, look at this. On Twitter now, Genocide Joe, where did I see that? Let me see. Explore. Not even an explore. I don't have to go that far. What the fuck? This was just trending. Is this no... Dude, oh my god, I want... Trump to Ukraine? Trump to Ukraine? What the fuck is this? Nobody... Mr. Beast? Biden 2024? What? I swear to god, but... Did Biden do something, like, within the last 10 minutes? Did he force a ceasefire? Apparently Justin Trudeau, did. The only choice. Jesus Christ, dude. We have one choice, guys. One choice. Presidential run, one choice. Okay, dude. Some people have brain damage. Anyway, by the way, I do still have... Okay. Oh, so of course my stream's just going to fucking hell. But what do you expect? Okay, whatever, dude. I'm not gonna try to find it again. But yeah, it was trending earlier, dude. Here you go. That's what it was at. Apparently, there's some things that you... Okay, dude. Didn't I just, like, say I would stop looking at that? And here I am fucking looking at that. Yeah, let me, like, stop being fucking retarded. But while I'm at it, let's go back to
like
this.
starving kids. I mean, they're nothing but bones with skin, and they can't even move. They're lying on the ground because they're starving.
Yeah, anybody who you ask would look at that and they'd see that blindly. Yeah, like, that's what they're seeing in the like Palestine tragedies. They're seeing that happen and they think that's horrible, that's gross. Maybe they aren't exposed to this as much, but yeah, people
we don't hear
condemn
a word
all
about
of that.
this.
Because it's
I don't see why they're trying to form this equivalency instead of trying to explain why. That's the only thing that should matter here, right? And they still haven't gone to the title, but yeah. To be fair, I'm just pausing it too much. But like, what was I about to say?
They're lying on the ground because they're starving. We don't hear a word about this.
because it's Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, like they're trying to go with the now instead of explaining exactly like how. I'm guessing their line is Israel is justified in doing what they're doing. Instead of going at the arguments against that, oh, Israel's doing a genocide. Oh, well, they're doing that. At first, it was all about the hostages. Well, now Hamas actually cut a deal with them. Hey, y'all have a bunch of our hostages, again, like political prisoners, people who are innocent, who like worked. They were like Palestinians who worked in the Israeli government. Up to the October 7th attack, Israel just took them captive. So they're also innocent people. Hamas just said, yo, if you want, again, not supporting Hamas, fuck Hamas. What Israel should do is take that deal. Of course, take that fucking deal. Don't negotiate with terrorists, my fucking ass. Take that deal and then kill Hamas, because no shit, you should still do that. But the deal was swap of hostages, exchange of hostages. Israel sort of, at this point, I think everybody sort of has the feeling Israel has given up on their hostages. They've come to peace with look, we've lost these people. Now we're just gonna destroy Hamas. That's why they're just bombing them left and right. If they bomb the hostages, who cares? We're not even trying. Well, they could get these hostages back. They could cut that deal, and they're of course going to go. I don't even think they've responded, but if they did, I'm sure they'd respond. We don't negotiate with terrorists. Oh, really? You don't negotiate? Okay, well, again, Secular Talk has made this comparison, great comparison. Somebody just has, like, somebody goes, commits a school shooting, gets their gun to a kid's head. What do? Are you going to bomb the school because, oh, well, you gotta take that guy out? Or are you going to have to negotiate with them? Because now you sort of fucking have to. Like, it's a shitty position to be in, but when you have something to gain from terrorists, yeah, you shouldn't negotiate with terrorists if you have none to gain from them. But if what you have to gain for that, like, you have to negotiate with them. There's no other way around this. You are at war with them. Negotiations are the only, like, and again, these people, they don't give a shit. Like, they can, like, this is all fucking obvious. If you want to get anywhere with this, if you actually want to have, like, substantive, like, progress in this war, you're going to have to talk things through and negotiate. But these people who are in power with Netanyahu, like, they aren't going to have to face the consequences of their shitty leadership, because the parts that suffer for them, the civilians who actually have to, like, take the suffering, Netanyahu is safe at home, okay? The terrorists aren't going to kill him. He's, like, giving a speech about self-defense, quoting the Bible and shit, because this dumbass forgot what Holy Scripture he even worships. Like, he's doing all this virtue signaling thing, but he's not the one having to fear for his life. He's just acting on the behalf of what, like, whatever his political interests are. It's like, you have to consider, okay, well, let's just look at all the points. That's sort of how you approach this discussion. What are the counterpoints? What are the points that people who are condemning the Hamas attacks, and I mean, yeah, they of course also condemn the Hamas. Yeah, people who condemn the Hamas attacks. Otherwise, it's more likely that their points are just gonna be shitty. But people who condemn, like, this genocide, what are they specifically saying? Like, what are they reproaching from the Israeli government? Okay, well, how about you go over those and like, discuss those? That's how you should be approaching those if you want to build a solid case for yourself. But, like, instead of going at the actual substance, defending Israel on what it's doing, like, what they're going to do is probably, I don't know why I keep looking at the title. I'm high as fuck now, but yeah, they're just going to say, oh, well, it's, look at this other thing that's happening that's also bad. Oh, well, you're a hypocrite. You don't seem to care so much. Look at all these people who I'm not even gonna bring names and all, but, like, look, trust me, people in general, it's like, they're caring so much about this, but they didn't care about that. So what's your logical conclusion from that? Should, like, calling them a hypocrite, okay, great point, they're hypocrites. You didn't even debunk a specific person, you just, like, and we even know that your fucking assumption, your like, what you're saying the West's narrative isn't even true, because you're pretty much saying that they're all simping for Palestine, when the Israel lobby isn't simping for Palestine. They have a lobby, Palestine doesn't. And like, the media, it's pretty clear there's a bipartisan consensus that like, what is Trump and DeSantis saying? Abolish the First Amendment to help Israel even more. Cuts to Israel off the table. What is Joe Biden saying? Again, we went over this. Unconditional support for Israel. Joe Biden is getting hammered over this now. Because, well, the media isn't really hammering him, but the people are. The people are starting to get ahead of the media and get ahead of their fucking, I'm not gonna say propaganda, because I'm sure they believe their lies. I'm not, like, that type of person who just assumes bad faith. These people are not lying. They believe what they're saying just as much as I do, and they're as sincere as I am. But like, they really have these subconscious biases. Like, look at that. That's where you go to. Instead of attacking the substance, you're gonna be like, oh, well, you're not really like all of these other things. You just care when it's the Jews. You just have a bias for Muslims, and you just think they should be immune to criticism because they're a protected class. Like, as if the left didn't argue that Jews are a protected class. Like, when Charlottesville happened, who was outraged over this? It's like we're having a new political party realignment. and like we aren't even fucking noticing this shit. Things that people said like a few years ago, everybody's forgetting. Like how Trump was 4 years ago. Everybody's fucking forgetting, and I didn't even know Trump 4 years ago, but I'm fucking starting to realize, even though I wasn't following. It's like,
And
yeah,
United
I'm
Arab.
speaking way too much, just saying a bunch of just, like, I'm gay and shit, like, nobody really cares, but, yeah, the stream fucking stopped. Of course it did, dude. Of course I'm not surprised, but I'm gonna have to re-upload that anyway. Yeah, fuck this shit. It's gay as fuck. Okay. No, I'm not on it. Yeah, maybe this one. Yeah, this one.
Emirates, it's Muslims who are doing those things, so nobody cares.
Dude, no. Nobody's saying that. And, dude, I was gonna bring up a completely irrelevant point, but I actually, no, that's not too fucking irrelevant. You remember 9/11, right? That was not a pretty far away time, and if you didn't happen to be into politics yet at 9/11 and you didn't condemn the 9/11 attacks, okay, I forgive you. I wasn't there either. I wasn't alive yet, okay? I'm not gonna say, oh, well, see, would you not condemn that shit? Maybe that just didn't have as much media attention, but I'm sure the people. But yeah, what happened after the 9/11 attacks? Everybody, there was, I'm sure, bipartisan consensus, at least in the United States, that 9/11 was pretty bad, dude. People, like Twin Towers going down. That's an epic fail. We hate that shit. That sucks. Well, guess what the United States chose to do after, like, Osama bin Laden, like the most high-profile terrorist there could be, right? Well, what did he? Okay, I'm getting my words stumbled. Look, so Osama bin Laden, we knew where he was at some point, which building he was in, but guess what? There were other civilians inside that building. So we let him go, knowing who he was, the high-profile terrorist that he was, right? Because civilians, if we would have bombed that building with all the other civilians, we would have been committing a terrorist attack, and we ended up getting him by just sniping him from on top. Like, why can't we do that type of shit? Israel has the intelligence we have. They are as like they are very fucking wealthy. In fact, we give them money when they're like more fucking rich than us. To be fair, like per capita, dude, they have free healthcare. We don't. List goes on and on and on. But
Only we care if Jews are involved because we don't want them to be taking the land.
And also, by the way, people who tend to have a pro no genocide position, they tend to condemn all of these equally. Again, like they're trying to say, I think they're pinning this on the West. They're trying to say this mentality, this philosophy is sort of like prevalent in the West, right? Especially, and they're saying, look, they just only care if the Jews do it, but they won't stand by Israel. Like if it's done to them, oh well, we understand. It's sort of like people you say, oh well, yeah, America is so racist. If there's a school shooter who's white, like a white boy shooting up a school, oh, people just want to be like, dude, he has mental issues. We should be like, we should try to like have some compassion and understand where he's coming from because like, oh, it's wrong that he did, but like, dude, he was just hurting a lot inside, and we gotta see both sides, dude. This is humanity, right? But then if it's a black kid, they're all gonna be like, oh, bro, he was, dude, you see these criminal thugs? Again, like, where's this narrative coming from? And different people are gonna be saying different things, and like, with this shit, I'm sorry, but can you point to this overwhelming amount of people? You don't even have to give that many examples. Just give big prominent figures on the left who like represent the left. Maybe members of Congress. Who knows? Like Ilhan Omar. I don't know if AOC, but like a lot of people like that. They're standing up for Palestinian human rights. Since the people who are standing up for Palestine and all like these really like they just support Hamas. Okay, there's Ilhan Omar. I don't know how many like big figures on the left who are supposedly supporting Hamas. Why can't you find quotes of them supporting Hamas? Why can I fucking bet my ass I like don't follow Ilhan Omar or any of these people, but why can I bet you that their position when October 7th happened wasn't, oh well, it's fine, dude. Like Israel, I don't care about them. No, everybody who is now saying like hey, we gotta stop the genocide. Especially in the United States, their position was already on October 7th, this is bad, and we condemn that. Like, he's trying to make it sound like that's not the case. Dude, you gotta bring up individual cases. Like, that'd be the strongest way to build up your argument. Find prevalent figures on the, like, this isn't even a left or right issue. I mean, I'm obviously on the right. I'm a pretty damn far right-wing person. I believe in $0 minimum wage. I'm against racism. The Democrats are extremely racist. I am pro free speech. The Republicans, I don't know, a lot of them, again, very high in power. Like the Democratic Party, it's like global population tends to be against free speech, but Republicans, at least those who like the ones in high power, like Trump, Ron DeSantis, yeah, no, Nikki Haley, fuck no, dude, they don't believe in free speech. But I am pro free speech, so I lean more Republican on that shit, right? But yeah, on that shit, they're trying to say, oh well, these people who are pro Palestine, they, like, y'all trying to label them as pro Hamas and like not caring when it's like when the Jews are. Okay, well, I'm sure it was the overwhelming consensus from every side. We don't support Hamas. What they did on October 7th was horrible. How about y'all find quotes of them having a super different position when October 7th happened, not at all condemning that, but then later on condemning this genocide? Like, if y'all had such a huge case like that, wouldn't that be really big? Why wouldn't y'all bring that up? Just bring a little compilation of what they're saying. Like, what these prevalent figures who represent, like, the, like, consensus on their side is saying. How about you bring that up?
Of Muslims or making any harm to any Muslim, even if it's Hamas and even if they are terrorists.
Like, y'all are forming up this like this what's it called, this narrative for what a bunch of people think. Maybe you've heard like this and that y'all was saying about the overwhelming majority of people from like some rare people, and probably all of the things they're saying were coming from different sides as well, different people. But like, this isn't how the majority of people think. Like, the majority of people, especially if you like bring in all of the information that is often left out, because the media here is pretty damn biased towards, I don't know, the Jewish lobby or dude, I just said the fucking oh my god, I'm a fucking the Israel lobby, dude. I'm high, not the Jewish. They're lobbying for fucking Israel, and they don't care about the Jewish people. Otherwise, they would de-escalate this shit. But oh my god, I fucking said that on accident. Dude, yeah, that was fucking, yeah.
We
Anyway,
don't want them to harm them.
the fucking Jewish lobby, dude. I unironically accidentally said that.
Man,
Wow.
we've got like 49.
Yeah, dude, I'm pretty sure that America seems to have a consensus that we stand by Israel. I don't know, both parties, especially in the mainstream media, are saying that, and I've said that like how many times, dude. I'm still, dude, this thing that I used to do of just yeah, and it's never left. But dude, it's stronger than ever. Me just speaking and speaking and speaking and never shutting the fuck up,
Muslim
dude.
majority countries.
I'm gonna try to like chill out on
A
that.
huge portion of the world. And then you've got this tiny little piece of land, and it's anything that happens on that little piece of land, then all of a sudden, I mean, college campuses around the world, marches around the world, and what do you think's going on with the Jews there?
Jews are, since the beginning of Islam.
Okay, so by the way, I guess his question is, why didn't you see all these people marching when October 7th happened? Well, the reason for that is, what were they like supposed to accomplish by marching for October 7th? There was already bipartisan consensus all around the world on every side, including the United States. Remember, we stand unconditionally with Israel. Everybody already agreed that we condemn Hamas. There wasn't much protest to be had, but either way, you don't have much of an impact on the like Hamas. They like, they don't give a shit what you have to say. There's no point in trying to pressure them. You can't. I mean, we should try to negotiate with them. That's the only leverage we have over their actions. But Israel's refusing to do that. But Israel, we are funding them. Like many countries, they are funding Israel. The United States is funding Israel. We're funding their genocide. We didn't send money to Iran. Like for them to carry out the October 7th attack. Firstly, and Fox News fucking debunked this, by the way. They covered that. But firstly, this money never arrived before like October 7th. Like by the time that this attack had happened, this money hadn't been released to Iran yet. Also, it only went to humanitarian causes and shit. Like, it wasn't spent on weapons. It could only be spent for that. But on top of that, it was their money that we stole from them that we're just giving back to them. We shouldn't have had it in the first place. It should have been theirs. They should get to do whatever they want with it because it's their fucking money. But they couldn't do whatever they want with it. And they didn't fucking... Okay, well, all this shit... We didn't do that. We didn't fund the Hamas attack. There was no reason to march because that money hadn't even been sent yet. People were virtue signaling about that. They didn't go march in the street over that shit because it wasn't fucking real, dude. Like, we didn't fund the Hamas attack. However, this attack that is continuing, that is ongoing, the like attack on Gaza, and we are funding it. So we have every reason to march because we have something to demand. A ceasefire. We are marching for a ceasefire. Like, what on earth could we have marched against, like, the fucking massacre in Israel? What would marching have done? Like, we already all knew that we all had disapproval of what happened. There's no point in marching to change the scale the other way around. We already all agreed on it. Like, there was no point in like marching to express your disapproval. Everybody disapproved. So
Islam, they are hated by the first Muslim community, including Muhammad, until today. And that hatred, it needs a trigger. So
yeah, by the way, yeah, the religion of Islam hates the Jews. The religion of Christianity says that, like, the Jewish religion, yeah, it's false prophets. Now, what you'll tend to notice a lot within the Christian and Muslim religion is that the Christianity seems to be a softball version of, like, when it comes to the hatred espoused by Islam. No doubt, there is all that in the Quran. Like, the Quran is hateful. That is true. But the thing is, do you happen to live in the United States? I live in the United States. I know a bunch of Christians. I know a bunch of Muslims. And I know that this is a majority Christian country, right? With separation of church and state. This isn't an extremist country like these Muslim countries, fundamentalist Muslim countries. We have separation of church and state. And guess what? In a more developed, advanced country like the United States, people don't, like, the overwhelming majority of Christians are pro-gay marriage. Well, how do you think that is? Well, isn't the Bible supposed to say kill gay people? Gay people go to hell? Oh, well, the Quran says that too, but guess what? I know a lot of Muslims over here in the United States, they also don't hate gay people. Why? Because they live here. Now, what religion was sort of like the old thing. You might have noticed these religions are thousands of years old. Modern science has taken over. That's the new thing. Now, these people who live in the Middle East, they're living a lot in religion because that's the yesterday thing, and they aren't advanced. Like, which nations tended to advance the most, like, have the most development? Countries that originated from, like, Christian origins, things like that. Like, they tend to have the most development. Now, in the Middle East, majority Muslims, that's the third world. Like, these people, they don't have democracies. They definitely don't have separation of church and state. So, their religion, they're way more extreme with it. Because if you look at people today in the United States, this development, this new modern science, it's taken over. The culture has changed because, like, these religions, they're based on the culture back then. And that's why they were so barbaric, because back then we were barbarians. Like, this thing towards acceptance, this revolution towards becoming more and more accepting, caring about humanitarian rights, it's a new thing. Like, before World War II, we had wars all the time. That was, like, we can't have that shit again. That's sort of, like, back in the day, we had very different views from what we have now, and the culture developing over time is over religion, because who the fuck wants to read these boring ass long books that, like, if you read them, it looks like a Shakespeare novel. It's like, just fucking stop having like, you could tell whoever wrote this had a fucking speech impediment. Like, just stop having fucking 3 IQ, learn to speak English. Modern English clearly isn't fucking English because I read Shakespeare, except that I couldn't fucking read it because it's not English. Same thing for the Bible. Just shut the fuck up, speaking, nobody wants to read that shit, right? If the Bible says things that aren't culturally accepted, such as fuck the gays, all that. Like religious people will just tend to deny that that's even in their holy scriptures, and Muslims will do that too. If you tell a Muslim person in the United States, hey, your religion hates Jews, your religion hates gay people, they will get I'm guessing pretty pretty angry over that, because they'll get pretty offended over that because they don't believe these things. Well, in these shitty underdeveloped countries, religion is still taking the high end of them because modern science hasn't come there. Maybe we should help them, help their humanitarian standards get better, because this hatred also comes with oppression. You're constantly oppressed. Like, you will tend to be more hateful. You will tend to go towards religion and shit. Like, it's just because modern science and modern civilization hasn't come to the third world yet. That's why they're such religious fundamentalists. It's not about their religion, it's about where they live. They haven't advanced yet enough.
Hated as Muslims, when I say hate, because I belong to them.
So if you, as I was saying, the religion of Christianity, they say a lot of the same, like, Allah with the Quran will say like kill non-believers, but apparently they also tend to try to convert. That's also a reason why they have a verse in the Quran about deception. Yeah, you can like lie about what Islam says to try to make your religion look better. Well, why would you want to do that? Because even Allah knows like you should try to negotiate with the supposed terrorists, because I'm sure, since there's so much projection when it comes to such extremism, like to justify their actions, they probably the terrorists probably see the people they're terrorizing as the terrorists who they're trying to save the world from. Like, they're terrorizing the reign of Allah or whatever the fuck. It's like, even they know that, yeah, you should try to negotiate. Well, yeah, the Quran will say kill non-believers. What does the Bible say? Oh, non-believers. Doesn't matter how great of a story. If you don't accept God, if you don't accept this particular God as your savior and all, you cannot go to heaven. You go straight to hell. So you're like pretty much eternal torture, the worst torment you can imagine. Does the average Christian person wish that upon non-believers, or are they pretty accepting and heartwarming? Well, it's not what their religion fucking says. Again, because modern I already said this, but yeah, it takes priority over that, over people's religion in places that are less extreme, where they like things have developed more. Like, religion is all they have because they live in such just rubble. They don't want to be playing in the sand, like as somebody was typing in my comment section earlier. They aren't trying to play with the sand because they enjoy it. They enjoy killing Jews and playing in the sand. They have their religion, and that's all they have, because, again, yeah.
Muslim ummah, Muslim nation, so I know how they think, and that's how I used to think. So when I say we, I just know the mentality. We used to hate every Jew, all through.
Again, he's trying to make this generalization of people again. Dude, I'm getting so high. They're like, oh, all the Muslims are like this. It's sort of like when people say slavery. Oh, you white people, you used to enslave us. Like, this is who y'all were. So firstly, you enslaved us, and now, well, here we go. This gives me justification. Now, segregation isn't racist. Now, not supporting segregation is racist because y'all, like, what do y'all not care about black people? Would y'all not want us compensated for what y'all did? I mean, yeah, y'all sort of brought us segregation, so now, like, an eye for an eye. You fucking segregated us, we're segregating you, motherfucker. And it's like, that's not how this works. I didn't enslave anybody. I wasn't around back then. I didn't do that shit. Why y'all blame me for it? Why can I not say the fucking nigger word? Because, oh, well, that's a word reserved to y'all now. Y'all use it as, like, and it's like, again, y'all, like, black people in general also don't necessarily believe that. It's like, but a lot of white and black people now would say, oh, well, this word, we're gonna use it as much as you use the word fucking, pretty much. But only we can use it because you used to oppress. Like, again, that fucking offends me that you're fucking blaming me for that shit, because I hate it just as much as you hate it. Because we are all humans who are able to empathize. And when we see, oh, these people were enslaved by these people, we don't reduce our own selves to the contents of our, oh my god, I did that. We think, oh, this is horrible. Just like you think, oh, this is horrible. You don't think these white people, like, then you fucking grow to think that way. But, yeah, just like we didn't do slavery, these people being white or not had nothing to do with us. We condemn that, we hate that, we don't at all self-identify in that. Muslim people, like, you associating that with anybody who's Muslim. It's like, dude, a lot of Muslims don't preach their religion, especially in more developed countries. If you get gathered to that stage, if you stop having them oppressed so much, if you, I don't know, like, since Israel is so much in conflict with them and Israel is so fucking, like, rich, maybe have them give, Gaza, like, share some of their wealth with them, since, like, they're sort of part of the state, like, they're sort of in there, they have them segregated. Well, maybe topple Hamas so that they don't get to be the leaders. They're clearly awful leaders. I mean, they're fucking terrorists. But Netanyahu, of course, he propped up Hamas because strategically it works for him, shows how much he cares about his people. Propped up Hamas, and here they are. No, what you do is you topple Hamas, as you should have done a long time ago. You help the civilians over there. You're like, oh well, they've been fucking you over. They've been fucking us over too. I said this last time. They've been fucking us over too. We're all Hamas is perpetrating this. They caused all this attack that like this this whole thing. You should blame it on them. You shouldn't blame it on us. Hamas started this shit, and now we're gonna topple Hamas, and we're gonna give you better and show you that, oh well, Hamas were really false prophets who were like claiming to stand up for you. Well, guess who's standing up for you now? And within not too long, especially once the humanitarian standards improve and it becomes less of a third world shithole, people's mindsets are going to start to improve and they're going to become less hateful. Again, in more developed places, this hatred tends to go away.
History, when you read history of Islam, you will see it clearly in the text and incidents. So we need a trigger.
This guy's fucking voice, dude. It's worse than mine.
Israel is the trigger right now. 1948 is the trigger.
What the fuck
it's
is
not
it?
the cause. And people think because of Israel.
Yeah, I know. This whole thing started like, yeah, the like Israel's retaliation on Gaza when Gaza didn't do this, Hamas did this. Yeah, that didn't start it up. The Hamas attack, October 7th. Oh, well, that didn't start it up either because that started because of the occupation. And, like, and I just heard earlier, like, this morning, apparently there was a deal back when Israel was trying to negotiate. Like, and this was fucking retarded. Apparently, Hamas, while they got a chance to, like, share part of Palestine, and they just straight up just refused that. Well, pretty stupid of them. Of course, both sides are wrong. But like, yeah, this didn't start with that. Yeah, we know. But do you condemn what's happening? Like, it's not about who started it, who's the one. Like, this is childish. This is childish. Oh well, they aren't really wrong. Oh well, do you condemn those? See, you're a hypocrite. Don't, like, this doesn't matter. Is it okay? What's happening now? Israel, what they're doing. Okay, well, that's the subject. Well, what's the argument for and against it? What are they doing wrong? How do you justify it? Is it justified? What's the argument saying that it's not justified? Oh well, what's the counter argument to that? Like, why are you trying to dance around this whole topic with this child's play? Oh well, the blame really is dude. What's happening now and who has autonomy over it? How could they approach this better? Like, that's the productive discussion to be having. And the answer to that, by the way, so that I'm not just circle jerking in this bullshit and not proposing a solution, get the strike specifically on them. Like Secular Talk brought this up. You find out who exactly is responsible. You go specifically after them. You specifically get them, and there's a lot of them in Qatar. You could also buy off Qatar, but you don't just do collective punishment against the civilians. Like, that's only, and as he also brought up, like, that only gets more people who are just victims. Every time you bomb a hospital, you bomb in, like, side of innocent civilians, you tell them to move to the south, then you bomb that too. Every time you do that, you just create a bunch more Hamas members because you create a bunch of new victims who have nothing left to live for. They just lost a lot of loved ones and justifiably want revenge. And they're also going to be misguided to just seek their revenge on just this collective punishment thing, like these collective punishment standards that like sort of have been enforced on us. We aren't trained to think that way. Again, like you might have had this when you were a little kid, when you were in elementary school, when the teacher just like I don't know, a few kids were misbehaving during recess, and the next recess, y'all are all sitting in timeout. You've had this at some point, and you immediately realize everybody there was probably consensus among that classroom that this is stupid, and like then you tend to probably blame, if you're smart, also the teachers, but a lot of the time you're just blaming the kids. Well, the kids didn't know that the teachers would punish the whole class. In the military, that's sort of different. That's like, yeah, I'm not even gonna get into that. It's a whole different story. There is nothing wrong with how the military does it, but yeah, they probably didn't know that there would be this collective punishment. But the point is, you realize from like when your teachers probably tried to do that at some point, this is stupid. This isn't fair. Well, you apply that again. This is little kid logic. Like it's distorted by people distorting the facts. But the facts are, it doesn't matter if, oh well, this other attack, like were you condemning that too? Oh well, you might be a hypocrite. Doesn't matter if I'm a hypocrite. Okay, what matters is the details of this. Like all this other shit who's to blame. That's all relevant crap. Specifically this. People are dying. Thousands of people are dying. Is it worth it for the few terrorists we're getting? Again, the United States has those humanitarian standards. They have those values. When Osama bin Laden, like this strike, and yeah, again, like somebody did point out, my friend pointed out, oh well, it's much closer. Like this shit, 9/11, they're like much further away from the United States. Well, the thing is, still, you have to, yeah, like the civilians are not worth killing all these people, and obviously Osama bin Laden could do things from far away, but yeah, dude, I'm getting really off topic. Let me
Occupying the land, that's why we are doing that. But that's not the truth.
Yeah, and it didn't start there, and it did, but that's why you don't try to get at the start, because as you're seeing from what you said earlier at the beginning, like started centuries ago. Okay, so you can't really blame anyone for it. Just like I'm sure you might agree, if you're not a full-fledged fucking retard, that I'm not responsible for slavery by virtue of being white. This guy next to you, he's not responsible for slavery either. He shouldn't have to bear the shame and the responsibility of segregated action, affirmative action. I'm so high. He shouldn't have to bear that, because he's not responsible for it. In the same way, like the people who you would blame, and I'm guessing like you'd be like, oh well, then they, but that was that, but I'm guessing who you'd start your whole net off with would be, oh well, at the very beginning originally, like the Palestinian side, like they started it at the very origin. So that's why now it's like, at the end of the day, it's like they sort of rightfully inherited, like that type of shit. It doesn't matter. Like as you said, this really started centuries ago. So if it matters when it started and not now, the present, what can we do? What's the best solution right now? What can we do? What are our options? Who can we influence? Like if this is the substantive thing for you, oh well, where did it start? Well, you're gonna find that like none of the people alive today, this doesn't apply to anyone alive today, because they bear no fucking like responsibility over that. They weren't fucking alive. So like, who are you gonna blame? Who are you gonna punish? Those who are dead? Like what, dude? And the only logical way to like seek out the guilty in this type of instance, since the guilty are far gone in the past, is just to like apply this collective idea that oh well, that's sort of the Muslims, like they are the people who started this. No, they didn't. Just like the Jews aren't the people who are defending themselves. Firstly, it's not defending themselves. What Israel is doing isn't defending itself. 90% civilian death rate, it doesn't sound like self-defense to me, but this is Israel's acts of terrorism, not the Jews' acts of terrorism. It's the Israeli lobby, not the Jewish lobby, like my dumbass fucking accidentally said earlier. Okay, dude, I'm going on a ramble and I need to shut the fuck up.
Actually,
okay, let me try to not say that every time I like finish a ramble, because like knowing myself, I might.
there were massacres against Jews even before that. And I can mention few, for example. In Morocco, we had the massacre of Fez. Fez is a famous city in Morocco. That's 1033. It's, I mean, 900 years before Israel.
Damn, bro. So it's like
Moroccans,
you can't really blame anyone for this shit. It was 900 years ago. What are these people? Dude, you should go after them. Well, shit, dude, this whole war might as well be over. These people who fucking are to blame, we fucking wiped them out, dude. We're all good. Oh, really, dude? Like, I mean, does he hear himself?
killed
So I mean, I hope I don't like sound like this without noticing it. I hope I don't fucking sound to this guy like he fight. Dude, what the fuck type of sentence that I don't know. I made a great point at the video. Yeah, whatever.
6,000 Jews in one day. I can give you another one in Iraq, 1941. It's called the Farhud massacre. They killed between
Like
200.
I don't know why he's bringing that up. Like I get the only point that there could be to these statistics. Like I'm sort of high. I forgot to like follow with what he's saying, but it'd be to try to hypocrisy burn people on. Oh well, you see, you don't care about the. No, stop trying to hypocrisy burn people because it doesn't matter who you'd get on this, who like might be guilty of this. Or what the circumstances were, whether they just didn't know about this, weren't informed, or whether they specifically neglected to mention that because it wasn't as important to them. And oh well, yeah, then he'd make a fair point to those people. Yeah, you have the overwhelming majority of people in isolation. Anybody who you're talking to on the show, anybody who might disagree with you and stumble upon this video, they would say, yeah, it's just as bad and it doesn't matter. Because most of the people who are standing up for Palestine, they condemned October 7th because no shit. You condemn, and for the same reason, because killing civilians is wrong. What was October 7th then? And now we're doing the same thing, but like a lot worse on the other side, just in a lot of a bigger scale. Like, no show, where was the support of Hamas on October 7th, like in the United States? When was that happening? Again, you didn't see this shit. You're only seeing support for Palestine now that Israel has retaliated, but not against those perpetrating the attack.
100 to 1,000, we don't have the exact numbers. And the name of it...
Like, it doesn't matter if all of these other things happen, because at the end of the day, even if you could hypocrisy burn everybody, like, oh, the majority of the Western media, they're really pushing this shit. Well, at the end of the day, what would that prove if we're all hypocrites? We all fell for that one. Well, it doesn't prove anything because this is also wrong. Like, so what are you suggesting? That this is all fine? That this is, like, if we have to pull a lesson from this, oh, we were wrong, so what's the correct position? He's just giving another, like, he's just assuming that we were wrong on this, that he's just assuming a position that pretty much nobody had, and he's saying, oh, well, based on the premise that this position is wrong, well, this is the new default correct position to go to. And it's like, well, no, if you, like, what you're supposed to acknowledge is, oh, well, these civilians getting killed, also bad. Okay, so, like, are you saying this collateral damage is justified? Are you saying that it's justified because it's necessary or because these people are partly guilty because look at their ideology? Like, what are you saying? And if you would agree that, oh, well, the standard is that it's all bad, y'all are all hypocrites, y'all should just notice that all of it's bad. Okay, so, like, from there, what do you want to do? Are you going to say that it can't really be reduced more than it is? And that, or you just want to say, oh, well, you care about, you're trying to go after Israel for this and that, for, like, having a 90% civilian death rate, but do you care about this and that? Well, why are you trying to hypocrisy burn us on this, that? Because you notice that that's also bad. That's why you're pointing out that too, because we're supposed to notice, oh, well, aren't you against that? Well, of course I'm against that, because that's bad. Otherwise, I'd look bad for not being against a fucking genocide. So, you're against the genocide too, so why aren't you also blaming Israel, since they have a much higher death rate? Again, like this...
That's everything. It's Farhud. In Arabic, Far means he ran away. Hud is Yehud, the Jews. The Jews ran away on that day. So we...
Yeah, and dude, how many Christians followed their Bible to the T? It's like, the problem with these countries, again, Christianity seems like a softball version. Like, Christianity promotes... like, women are second-class citizens. Like, all of these, you'll tend to notice a trend in those. Like, you have to like believe in this God, otherwise you go to hell. Gay people aren't accepted. Like you have to preach this. God knows everything. He's all good, all and he's all just, and there'll be a heaven and hell. Like people are all good or all bad. There's just all good, all bad, always. Like a lot of these barbarian things, like women are second class. It'll all be the same pen because back then that's how the world order used to be. That's how people used to be until there came modern developments, and that came here, as you see, it's had an impact on both Muslims and Christians and any other religion in the United States. Most people who follow religions, most people in the United States are religious. They aren't extreme. However, in these underdeveloped countries, like it just so happens that the Quran tends to be the like standard religion that comes with these like shitty Middle Eastern shitholes. But like yeah, the religion itself, I guess that is more barbaric than the Bible, but they tend to be hateful in the same ways. Like Christianity just tends to be a softball of it. But then you'd expect for Christian countries to still be be hateful of the gays, just not nearly as much. Yet gay marriage, we have gay marriage, and there's a huge overwhelming bipartisan consensus that it's good. There are some people out there, but most people don't practice and follow their religion to the T. Not in the United States, because this is a more advanced place. Again, like that, it's not about the religion. People don't follow their religions because we've moved on. This is thousands of years old.
Still have it in Iraq. They call it the Farhud Day. So the day when the
Yeah, you
Jews
made your
left.
point, buddy.
It's 1941. Israel didn't
Jews,
exist.
I can't help but keep bringing up how they're just slumping them into groups. Oh, the Jews and the Arabs. It's like, dude, not the fucking Muslims. It's like he's just slumping those religions and then going to like, oh well, what do the Muslims believe? Is he going to bring up that the like I just learned this like less than a month ago, but by the way, is this even showing my face? I want to make sure my webcam doesn't look. Yeah, good enough, dude. But like, is he bringing up that the Old Testament? So it's more like the Bible. So this hatred. Oh well, that sort of has the same type of stuff. Non-believers, where do they go? I don't know.
Back in those days, we have one, and also the Hebron massacre. It happened before
Dude, is he gonna just keep
the
bringing...
foundation of Israel. We had 67 Jews.
Like, what's the point of bringing all that up? It's all bad. Okay, we get it.
These things just shows you that Jews, they were hated, and we have it in the text. If we can really dig into Muslim texts and show you exactly what we thought of them.
Yeah, and this was something that interested me way back when I was starting to.
We thought of it. It's like, dude, I bet you if I asked this guy, are you responsible for slavery? He would say no, despite being white, because he's not retarded. But on war issues just rot people's fucking brains. Like, they can't see this shit. Why can't you see this shit? Why doesn't it go both ways? You can see this is how you started. Like, this is the history, since people care about history so much, of the United States. Like, you attach yourself to that. You don't see yourself as a racist who committed slavery and is now trying to have to redeem himself. Otherwise, they're just a racist, horrible person. You probably don't see it that way. Yet you're going to attach them to all the... Like, dude, Christians in the past, back when we used to be super barbaric and shit, there were Christian wars. You remember when, I don't know, what was it, like two different, like Protestants versus Catholics, back when the world was still pretty barbaric and like, fucking, whatever the word I was getting. Yeah, remember that massacre when, like, there were just a bunch of Christians killing one another, like hundreds if not thousands dead, over some like slight disagreement over certain like the interpretation of the Bible. Yeah, why did that happen? I thought Christians weren't like hateful and shit. It's like, oh well, because back then, yeah, we've changed from that. We see that it's silly now. We don't give a shit. Well, back then we were more religious fundamentalists and we didn't see it that way. Except that since then we've evolved, but these shithole countries, they haven't evolved because they've stayed in the third world. Like, it's not that hard to see. Like, back in the day, yeah, they, like, Christians also committed, like, hateful acts like that. That also happened, but we've moved on.
Learn about Islam. So the main reason early on that I was studying Islam was just that my best friend was a Muslim. But Nabil, he was from the most peaceful sect of Islam, the Ahmadis. Their motto is love for all, hatred for none. Yeah. And yet, even with Nabil, when the topic of Israel or Jews would pop up, he would suddenly become like a different person. like even he was enraged. I was like, wait a minute, I thought you're the nice one here.
Well, because when you're raised and brainwashed from childhood,
Okay, yeah, ask most Muslims in the United. Actually, I'm sure I could Okay. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, of course. Google's fucking retarded, so it's like I really wish I could just look up a question. Like it'd make sense that you could do that, right? Just look up a fucking question on Google, and because I would have done that a fucking long time ago with
that those are the enemies of Muslims. What do you think? I would...
Like, yeah, how many what did he just say?
Because when you're raised and brainwashed from childhood that those are the enemies of Muslims, what do you think?
Yeah, like what percentage of people in the United States? Well, like everything that I've been bringing up here, like I would have looked that up on Google to fucking prove my point. If Google actually, like, dude, I fucking hate how Google and just all search engines they work. They like you will ask them a question, like you will make it as specific as you can fucking make it, right? Like a question that should be as straightforward as like a math, like 9 plus 4. You type that into Google, oh, it'll always get you the correct answer straight away. Something as straightforward as that, you type that in, not a fucking, like every answer that is everything to do with anything other than what you fucking typed. So I wish I could use Google, like some, such as my mother will say that I'm just not good at using keywords. Shut the fuck up. I tried everything that. No, this isn't a keywords issue. This is the people who are developing Google need to start like practicing incest to fucking like that's not a fucking healthy or productive way to like breed your new inheritance, or what's it called? Breed your new ears into like take care of the site, just more incest. Maybe Google should just stop with their incest problem, because clearly they have some fucking incest problem with people developing the sites to legit like not be able to answer straightforward questions like that. I don't see how anything other than incest could explain that, but yeah,
I would think when I grow up, I had to work and struggle with it to overcome that hatred for years. It wasn't easy. Probably for you, you grow up in a different background, so you didn't feel it. I felt it so strong. You can't even shake the hand of a Jew because
that's what the guy who was like in Discord was referring. Yeah, apparently he's the Muslim who used to hate the Jews.
The idea is that they taught us that he's.
Where's he from? Where did he grow up? Who is it? It's like, again, I would look up with. Okay, I forgot. He probably said at the beginning like who he is. But if I look up where he's from, where he grew up, again, it'd probably just talk to me about a fucking FouseyTube or something. That's probably gonna be like all the YouTube results. Because Google's retarded, so.
Cursed, he is hated by God. They are the enemies of our prophet. They tried to kill him. They tried to bewitch him.
What, you actually read your fucking holy scripture and believed it? Like, I swear to God, I don't know how, but a lot of people in the United States, oh, well, they haven't grown up just reading their Bible thinking, oh, I hate gay people, and all of a sudden their parents are like, dude, what did you just say? Shut the fuck up, dude. Are you fucking retarded? Hate gay people? Where did you learn that shit? Where did you pick up that shit? Oh, the Bible? What are you, fucking blasphemy now? Dude, you're gonna have some time out. Then they realize, oh, fuck, dude. Like, what on earth? And they just have, like, this fucking midlife crisis at 6. Dude, I'm just spewing garbage. Yeah, dude, you get my point, okay? That doesn't really happen. What the fuck are you talking about?
All this history, it's embedded in our DNA.
Like, where were you raised? I'm sure you didn't just start picking up the Quran and just find out as a little kid, oh shit, the Jews are bad. Oh shit, the gays are bad. Because otherwise, people who would have picked up the Bible would have found out the same exact fucking shit. Not specifically from the Jews, but well, yeah, from the actually that too. Apparently, the Jews were yeah. I just remember what the Bible story was like. they even killed Jesus. So
when you think of a Jew, what image
yeah,
is going to come
okay,
to your
well
mind
there
if
you
you were raised
go.
since childhood to think
Christians were anti-Semites.
they are the monsters, they are the killers, they are the
Why am I still
bloodsuckers?
watching
So what are you
this
going to think about
shit?
them when you see a Jew?
And this is I find this really interesting how this
Yeah, it's
unfolded.
like average kid in the United States just picks up the Bible one day and it's like, shit, dude, why are the Jews so bad? It's like the average person just sort of is raised like Nick Fuentes style, believes the same shit Nick Fuentes says until like their parents fucking realize that they're retarded and ask them about it and like raise them right.
In the lifetime of
Like,
Muhammad, because when he's in Mecca, it seems like his
I don't know if I'm tormenting this guy at this point, but it's like, dude, there's not much more commentary to add
view
than
is,
that, to be honest.
hey, it's Muslims and Christians and Jews, and we're all going to be united
Yes.
against the pagans and the polytheists and so on. But all the monotheists are going to be on the same side.
Yeah.
And when he's revelations his revelations in Mecca and he's surrounded by polytheists, just over and over again, it's like he's setting up the Jews as these authorities in matters of religion. Like they can confirm it. They'll confirm it with their books. When they see me, they're going to acknowledge that I'm a prophet.
Yeah.
So for years, he's telling his followers, his entire community, guys, wait till we talk to these Jews. Wait till we talk to these Jews. They're going to give me a big handshake and say, yes, this is our prophet.
Yeah.
And then so he does this for years, and then he finally moves up to Medina, and the Jews are like, you're not a prophet. Get out of here. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
You're the most obvious false prophet in history. What are you talking about? You're an Ishmaelite. We don't know what you're talking about.
I'm there in your book. Just check. You'll
No,
find
where? Book of Trust Me, bro? Where are you in here?
So that's exactly what happened when you read the surahs. For example, in Mecca, he was talking about nature, look at mountains, look at the sky, look at
I mean, to be fair, I just clicked on this because somebody referenced it to me, so I was gonna say what the fuck does that have to do with anything, but like, I guess that would have been a more appropriate question, towards the beginning why I asked that, but now I'm just fucking putting it on pause so I can like not shut the fuck up again. Yeah, let me.
these
I
natural
need to
stuff.
stop
And
with
it shows
that.
there is a God and only one God. And hey, Christians approve that. Jews approve that. And I am talking about Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. See, we're all a family. We're against the polytheists. And when he moved to Medina, he was like, right? They were like, no.
Yeah, I didn't know any of this shit again about the polytheists. Like, I'm high as fuck. At first, I thought he was talking about atheists, and I read people who worship multiple gods. So, do you mean I know Buddha is somebody. I don't know of any specific religion that is polytheist. Like Buddha, I don't know anything about Buddha other than you reincarnate. Are there any gods? I don't even know if there's maybe you are the god. I don't know, dude. I'm sure Kuskasank's religion actually. What was like the bro? How do I not remember Kuskas? The egg, yeah.
We are not with you.
Okay.
We have a different narrative. And when he knew he was rejected by Jews and Christians, he started attacking them one by one.
So I
And he
was
started
gonna say, how does any of this matter? Because, like, I didn't know that most Jews probably don't know that, most Muslims probably don't know that. It really doesn't matter because it's not today. For all we know, this, like, I don't even know how much of that happened. I'm sure, like, I know Jesus Christ was a real person, he just wasn't a prophet. Prophet Muhammad, probably was a real person. I don't know anything about this shit. He probably just didn't like walk on water like Jesus. Fucking probably didn't do that. He probably didn't ride his Pegasus or whatever the fuck he was saying he did. Like he probably was just a regular person who was just a very angry person inside. Allah was, and Jesus probably wasn't as angry, which is probably why he held the same values, like hating gay people and all, but probably wasn't as explicitly hateful in a lot of them because it's not like a tamed down version of Islam, but they still have the same ideologies. Like, yeah, they have the same types of intolerance towards certain people that were now less intolerant of because this is a new thing because back then it hadn't started yet. Like these people, like gay people, non-believers, people who like had any type of differences that we consider for some reason like by the laws of nature when we I don't know reproduction back then like pretty significant. Now that we're no longer third world, it doesn't matter as much. Yeah, that shit is like what the hell is that, you're gay? That's sort of weird. Like that's the type of thinking that they had back then when these religions were developed, and that's sort of the same shit in both religions and in the Jewish religion too, because like that's the Old Testament. But let me go get some water. Fuck, dude. Almost just stubbed my toe like a thing. Bro, kill myself.
excuses to justify kicking out Jews, killing them, enslaving their women and their kids. For every tribe, he found an excuse. And when you read it, you see clearly he had a plan to get rid of them.
Dude, God had what was it, genocidal verse that Netanyahu just quoted not too long ago? Let me see. Wow, I post a bunch of dog shit. Okay,
You must.
now we can. What the fuck, dude?
Destiny, how many hospitals being?
Dude,
You
shut
must
up.
remember.
Destiny,
Okay.
how many hospitals being?
You must remember.
Yeah, now we can't really see it, but now go and smite Amalek. Not sure who that, but apparently that was like maybe the Jews. So I don't know. Maybe the Muslims. Some people, some group of people, like in a city, I think. And utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but say both men and women, infant and suckling out. Okay, so what is that shit, dude?
They were a threat to his prophecy.
Yeah, and the biggest threat.
It's like, isn't that justifying a genocide? Like, they used to do that. Now we're taking more anti-war stances. Before World War II ended, that, like, we weren't really like that. I think I heard in history class, apparently their fucking philosophy was more towards, oh, well, this was, the one Vietnam, that's where Vietnam or whatever, they sort of realized, oh, like, the people in World War II, that was sort of, the United States was justified in entering that war. And the people of that war's generation, they were egging their kids on, oh, well, the war in Vietnam now. Like, this was our war, now this is gonna be your war. And they were like, no. And especially since that war wasn't justified. Like, we're going to try to, like, massacre people who don't want to have ideology, who have communism, who are cool with it. Because we don't want to, like, that's authoritarian, we're a democracy. What the fuck is this shit? We're going to die to, like, enforce authoritarianism because we don't like that they do shit otherwise. Like, they have a different culture over there than they do here and they're fine with it. We don't like their culture. Who the fuck are we to, like, demand that they follow our rules? It's not what fits them. It's, like, everybody, I don't know, different strokes for different folks. They like communism, we don't like it. Okay, well, how about we leave them alone? Like that, they're gonna want to leave us alone too if we did. All that shit, right? Why was I made this so long?
He's in their scriptures, and he doesn't actually know their scriptures. They know their scriptures. They have their scriptures. Then these are the people who are best equipped in the world to expose him as a false prophet. And that's exactly what they start doing. And he becomes more and more enraged at them until, as you pointed out, you had the Banu Kenuka, and so you have a Jewish tribe, and they're like merchants and goldsmiths and so on.
I don't know any of this backstory. Like, I'm learning everything, but I'm sure he's distorting the views. I'm sure the Quran would have a completely different side of the story, because this sounds so one-sided. But maybe. I mean, I'm sure they were both wrong, but okay.
But his justification for expelling
like,
them was...
now he's gonna try to paint Allah as the bad guy, like the Jews are the perfect guys, and like Islam is just like this force of pure evil that's gonna go after the force of pure good that's Israel and the Jews.
a prank. Someone did a prank.
That's like nobody, especially in the Western world, where you're trying to say they're all anti-Semites or what. I don't know if you're saying that, but like they all have this really biased view towards Palestine. Like everybody in the United States, they don't follow their holy scripture, be it the Bible or the Quran. They don't hate gay people. They don't, like, they're tolerant of non-believers. Nor Christianity nor Islam was.
One of the Jewish merchants did a prank on a Muslim woman, sort of pinned her dress to a bench or something like this, and she stands up, and then people
got uncovered.
Yeah, people saw her uncovered and so on, and that becomes the basis for expelling the entire tribe. Tabari says that Muhammad wanted to kill them all then. He wanted to kill the entire tribe, but they actually had some Arab allies.
So Muhammad was like, I don't know, he was a guy who was just bloodthirsty and out for revenge. Like, he just wanted revenge because he was seeking what's it called? He was seeking validation and just people just affirming him, and he didn't get any of this, and he was fucking mad and out for revenge, and he was just this bloodthirsty child, just like Netanyahu is now, just mad because his ego was broken. Okay, cool story, dude. It doesn't matter because either way, whatever he preached isn't going to be what they, like, I already said all this shit.
Protect them, so they don't kill them and so on. Yeah. So he kicked them out and then kept their stuff.
And when you see Banu Nadir, for example, he had a different excuse for them. He went to ask
Dude,
them
this
to help
is
him
all
to raise
just
some
history. I don't care about any of this. Does he go on to anything of value?
because one of them pulls
There's never been a better time to get away. With a great deal on the Hyundai you've always
a prank. Yeah. Or he can punish an entire tribe and just say, I had a dream. I had a dream, or I had a vision, or Gabriel told me they're going to get me. Therefore, we have to punish this entire tribe. Or even the Kareza Jews. Yeah.
Dude, that sounds a lot like what Netanyahu is doing to Gaza. Just punish everybody for the sins of a few. It's like 90% civilian death rate. Does that ring a bell, dude?
The accusation against them is that they're somehow conspiring behind the scenes with the Meccans. And you know, this is from Muslim sources. You're not sure exactly what to take seriously, what not to take seriously. But you can grant everything they're saying. You can say, okay, I'm going to take your version of events. Yeah. Their version of
by the way, if you're referring to the civilian death rates, that'd be a whole different. So clearly, some Muslim sources are reliable. The Gazan Health Ministry.
Events. They knew exactly who they were accusing of conspiring with these guys, and yet he punishes the entire population, men, women, and children. If you were grown,
dude, I wonder if he's talking about Netanyahu, because that sounds like it could apply to what Netanyahu's doing. It's like, but then I'm sure his argument against that would be, oh no, because well, you see, like if you think that's bad, how about all this shit that you like? I didn't see you like condemning that. Gotcha, bro, boon. It's like he doesn't actually refute the substance. Oh, well, if you're arguing that whatever that is, you're making it sound bad. So whatever he's on now, I'm guessing he's saying, oh, well, that's bad. You see, that's like his point to try to condemn those people's actions, because he's probably talking about the Muslims. Well, if we bring that up, hey, Netanyahu, like when he does that, well, he's probably going to bring up, oh, well, you probably are fine with instances of some hypocrisy, even though you probably often nobody is fine with any genocide. People who are standing up for Gaza, they're standing up because it's genocide and they're against it. Like that's the substance. Like you're trying to strawman them is talking about, oh well, we're standing up for Palestine. Why did they stand up for Palestine? Same reason we're all standing up for Israel on October 7th, because they were the victims. It's like,
if you had reached your man, you were dead. Everyone else became the slaves and sex slaves of Muslims. So he could actually punish
I think I'm just gonna look at this next.
Entire population.
It's gonna be a refresher.
You knew who the guilty people were. Right? You could have said him, and him. Yeah. They're gonna be punished. No, punish the entire.
Oh, bro, is he talking about Israel?
And the reason I find this absolutely hypocritical is
Israel has hypocritical talking about him. I wonder what he's on, but it's great that I jumped to him because Israel is like the most rich fucking country. Like they're so fucking rich. We fund them. We unconditionally support them. Like gives you an idea. The biggest, toughest country, we cuck up to them so easily. They have a huge lobby that's impacting our First Amendment rights here. They have all that they need to to look into who did this and punish specifically the guilty. They have the means. People have been like bringing up that they should do that. So it's not like some little fringe idea. They could do that. And it makes sense, go after the guilty, but they aren't doing that. So, who's he gonna call a hypocrite now? I'm like interested to see how that goes.
We would agree, if you have an army, then it's your army versus their army. Try to keep the civilians out of it and so on. There was no
right?
concept of that for Muhammad. It was someone from your group did this, therefore we will crush you all.
Actually, the Jewish tribes, if you read history, didn't have army. They used to be under the protection of other Arab tribes, so they don't have an army of their own.
Shit! So that's a new thing we brought in. So we're not even acting in the like Jewish perfection thing that they're trying to like build up a narrative for. Oh well, the Jews on this side, it's not none's about Israel, like the leaders, it's the Jews versus the Muslims, and oh well shit, they like Netanyahu isn't even acting on the behalf of the perfect Jewish thing that you're talking about. Oh,
that's the reason the kingdom survived. They had some Arab allies. Muhammad wanted to kill them all over a prank. He wanted them all dead over a prank.
Damn,
they had some allies who stepped in and said, no, don't kill them.
So going back to my point that this is related to religion, I grew up as a Muslim.
Yeah,
the first thing we learned,
the biggest thing that most of these religions like rely on is they have anecdotes all over in both scriptures of, well, in the Bible, they'll have a lot of examples of Jesus doing good things that most people would look at it and go, yeah, Jesus looks like the good guy in this. Just like in the Quran, they'd have many examples of just what the Prophet Muhammad doing good things where you'd look at that and you'd go, yeah, the Prophet Muhammad looks like the good guy in this. Like, and I looked up, like, I remember at some point, I don't know why I looked this up, but like the verse where, in the Quran where they were endorsing slavery and shit. And like the verse that I found was like Allah legit saying the Prophet Muhammad so it was so weird. It's like this whole holy scriptures, they're so weird. It's like some guy came up to the Prophet Muhammad, hey, my slave is missing, I can't find this motherfucker is like son of a bitch, run away from me, dude. help me find him so I could beat the shit out of him. And Allah is like, Muhammad is like, fixes in like the hero of the story. Oh shit, dude, you're missing your slave? Well, look, he's right there, dude. You didn't fucking see him, dumbass? He's right there, bro. He wasn't even hiding from you. He's just... And then the guy was so happy, just let the slave free. And like the moral of the story was like, oh well, that makes the Quran look good, because it's like, oh well, that's a good deed, you let the slave go free. But it's like, you're endorsing slavery, you don't seem to be condemning slavery, right? But it's like, yeah, even in snippets, like, snippets that, snippets of the Quran that promote slavery, they'll manage to make the Quran and the Prophet look good.
Is the Fatiha, the opening, how to pray with it. And everybody around me, not just me, we knew that the last verses of the Fatiha are about Jews and Christians. If you read on the path of those you have blessed, means they're talking to Allah, not those who you are displeased with or who are astray. مغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Yeah, I don't see the point in, let's see this.
Switch to Google Fi Wireless and get Simply Unlimited. Our most affordable unlimited phone plan is just $80 per month for your family. You also get 5 gigabytes of high speed.
We need
Okay.
we need to see a cease. We need to see a humanitarian pause so we can flow. We need
Yeah,
to see
humanitarian pause. Yeah, again, as Secular Talk pointed out, that's retarded. Like, it makes it, it's better than not having a ceasefire, not having anything at all. Like, some humanitarian standards is better than no humanitarian standards. Like, not having halal slaughter, just getting by those humanitarian standards, that's better than just like having that, even if you're still having the animal holocaust. That's obviously bad. Like, it's fucking horrible, and a lot more victims happening in that than any of these attacks, by the way, whether it be on Gaza or on Israel. So that's, of course, remains a much bigger issue. But well, like, yeah, you get to have it like a humanitarian pause. Is that really what you're gonna be calling for with all your power? Like, it, yeah, ceasefire. That's a bigger aim. I don't know why Bernie Sanders, who's supposed to be like pro-Palestine, he's always been put like, he's going with humanitarian pause. Yeah, so in isolation, that's good. You're temporarily stopping your terrorist attacks. Yeah, stopping your terrorist attacks is good. It just needs to be just not temporary. It needs to be permanent. You're done with your terrorism. Done. You don't start with that again. Not just, oh, we're pausing the... But yeah, I guess a pause is better than nothing. But
for a guy
this is good-ass news.
Typically comes off as very rehearsed, this was an incredible slip-up. So during an appearance at a leaders summit in Washington, D.C., Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was asked about Israel and Gaza. And he confirmed that he definitely supports a humanitarian pause. Check out this clip.
Oh.
we need to see
I didn't see this. Fuck.
a cease. We need to see a
Shit, dude. What a
humanitarian pause. So
What a dude. What a fucking asshole. He's like, oh, we need to stop calling no, temporarily. You were so fucking close. How is this a bipartisan? You see what I mean when I say this is bipartisan? He's obviously on the left. He's a fascist left-winger. He's far on, like, he's decent, and he's not gonna be, like, he is, like, I mean, look at the trucker protest. He is an authoritarian, but he is decently far left, okay? He's, like, not like a communist like France, but he's in between France and the United States, right? Like, he's like the United States, like the left-wingers of the United States, I guess. Like, he is decently left-wing. It's like, this is what I mean when I say there is no consensus on either party of human lives are human lives. We cannot be engaged in an act of terrorism, period. Doesn't matter who it is, we're seeing this blindly. No, we're not seeing this in terms of Jews or in terms of Muslims. We're seeing this in terms of innocence, non-innocence. You only go after the guiltiest. This guy was talking. Yeah, you go after one another's armies. You don't, like, innocents are always off the table. Civilians are off the table. Like, Israel has been breaking UN laws. Like, Democrats have been criticizing them, telling them, hey, we're going to keep funding you, but stop breaking UN laws. We're going to keep funding your breaking of UN laws, but for God's sake, dude, please don't make us look bad, because we're just gonna keep funding that, but we can't support it, because otherwise we're, like, supporting genocide, and we're gonna lose our fucking elections or some shit. And it's
we
like,
can flow.
oh,
We need to see ceasing of the
it's like, dude, ceasefire means you end the, like, why do you want a humanitarian pause? Like, because this is these people are dying. These people are innocent and they're dying. This isn't okay. We want to have a pause on that. Why is that okay to go back to it after? Like Secular Talk brought this up, and I don't even think it's even worth me repeating this. Like, it's so fucking intuitive. Yeah, like, you temporarily stop killing them and you, I don't know, let them, like, eat a bit so that they can get back to being massacred. Like, what good is that? But I would disagree. I think, yeah, that's still good. That's still a good thing to call for. A humanitarian pause. But what's the logical conclusion from that? If you want a humanitarian pause, yeah, that's good. That's a good thing. Maybe it's because, oh, so many civilians are dying. Let's stop that. What are you gonna pause that for? Maybe to have time to think, to negotiate. Oh, but you're not negotiating with terrorists, so what are you even gonna get out of it? It's like, normally you have this pause so that, oh, well, look at it, there's a tragedy, civilian casualty rates going in the thousands, like, by the days of that. No, we need to pause it, see what's going on, maybe negotiate with it, because that's the biggest pressure we have. But no, we're not talking with them. We're just mad, we're ghosting them like a little Tinder date, or like a bad Tinder date or some shit. And this is how Netanyahu sees this war. It's like, oh, Hamas, like, he pretty much is treating them like the Tinder date that they're ghosting because, like, we have some beef. He sees this as a game. Like, no, you have to put your ego aside. This isn't his family that's on the line. He doesn't have any, like, any people who he might lose. He just has the civilians who he doesn't care about because, again, he propped up Hamas. Yeah, all of these people,
levels of violence.
who's, well, all these people who he's, calling for, who he's, like, a bombard, dude, I think, didn't I already make my point? I guess I sort of did.
Violence that we're seeing. We need to see civilians protected. We need to see a humanitarian pause.
I mean, that was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. He was so close to calling for a ceasefire accidentally.
He should have just called for a fucking ceasefire. Like, now he just looks like a complete bitch. And it's like a fucking massive bitch. Like a ungraceful bitch. Like, fuck you type. You just, maybe you realize at this point, hey, maybe we shouldn't be killing all these people. And it's like, maybe it is a slip up. Maybe he, like, the word ceasefire does tend to come up a lot when you like, I don't know, these two, humanitarian pause and ceasefire, people have been calling one more for ceasefire. Probably especially in his country, because people tend to be less brainwashed from what I've heard. I don't even fucking know, but I'd see that be more thing in his country. Maybe he heard that more, but dude, just fucking call for a ceasefire, because these civilian, like, we can't be having that. We can't be funding that shit. Like, this is pretty intuitive, right?
This is just one of the most incredible slip-ups I've ever witnessed from a, really any world leader. Because we're in a moment right now where
True.
we have thousands of people, as I'll get to, from these mass marches all over the world, calling for a ceasefire. It is clearly the right thing to do, yet you have the world leaders, the allies of Israel, be it Canada, be it the US, be it the UK, continue to support the indiscriminate bombing of civilians in Gaza. Trudeau has to know what the right thing to do is, but he doesn't prioritize.
And guess what? This person, the Humanist Report, Secular Talk, October 7th. Let me just to prove my point for once. Let's look at these people: the Rational National, Secular Talk, the Humanist Report. What were they saying on October 7th? Let's see these people. Were they praising Hamas? Were they, Okay, so I can't really switch it up by date, but October 7th was... Okay. When... Okay, we're on... Okay, we're in November. How did I forget we're in November anyway? with the 5th of November, and I'm still not having my fucking ADHD pills. Fuck these fucking dipshits. But yeah, it's a whole different time. Okay, so October. So that should have been like a month ago. A month ago. Okay. So let's see. So first video on this. Were they supporting Hamas? And then we're gonna look at the rational national. We're gonna look at all of what were they saying on October 7th. Like people in America who represent. Oh well, we've always been against civilian casualties.
Welcome to Flatiron School. This is where you learn how the future works. Where the whole point of education is to get you a...
Hey guys, so Crystal and I are right now in the midst of driving to New York. We're going to see my mom, a good son, but of course, massive, major breaking news had to come out this morning. So I woke up this morning and Crystal immediately informs me that there's another war going on. War just broke out. So what happened is Hamas did an invasion of Israel. It's land, air, and sea. We'll get to specifics on that in a second, what we mean by that. And then we're already at the point now where Israel has retaliated. So Crystal, give everybody, everything that you know at this point.
Yeah, so it looks like
No, they had already retaliated. Yeah, it's like that's what I mean. Like you can't retaliate that early. You don't know. You have to do an investigation. You don't know who it is. You don't like this just happened. Like that's probably why. So he's probably already gonna. But in this video, I'm guessing he's gonna already condemn both. Like because it's pretty obvious if you're already going after like you're already retaliating. It's like who the fuck do you know to retaliate against? Like you don't even know where they are. You haven't seen any of the details yet. This just happened. It's like they haven't had time to like conduct an investigation. So there's already blame to be going on Israel to some extent. So I'm guessing he's probably gonna bring that up because he's fair. But yeah, let's see what he has to say on the October 7th attack. Does he say that's not a big deal?
thousands of rockets, something like 2,000 to 5,000 rockets fired into Israel by Hamas operating out of the Gaza Strip, occupied Gaza Strip. And we also had armed militants taking over towns in southern Israel. We also had, you mentioned the air and the sea. There are videos of people coming in on literal hang gliders and some...
Just for 1 second.
Yeah.
That's an air attack. Hang gliders. When I said they were attacking by air, you probably call like fighter jets or something. No, dudes were literally with hang gliders, like hang gliding into Israel to launch attacks.
Yeah, and I saw one picture of some kind of boat. So that's... And I also actually did, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, Kyle, there were apparently also what they call denial of service attacks, like web hacking
against
attacks against Israelis as well. So in any case, this is being called the most aggressive, most sophisticated attack on Israel in 50 years. It came almost exactly on the 50-year anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, which looms very large in the Israeli sort of like national identity, where a coalition of Arab states was able to attack them with some success. They were able to beat that back, but it is part of what led to the fears that justified this massive security state, massive surveillance state, and the apartheid conditions, which have, of course, been imposed on Gaza and the West Bank. So as of now...
so I think I don't know, he's sort of trying to build up beforehand because he knows how the tables are going to turn and that everybody's just already going to blame Palestine for this. So he's trying to like frame it the right way with like, oh, by the way, this isn't like there is some backstory.
The latest numbers I've seen
I think he's trying to start it off with a backstory. So.
200
we're gonna have to wait a little bit.
Who've been killed and about 100 Israelis who've been killed, about 1,600 Israelis who've been injured. Hamas was directly targeting, it appears, civilians, and they were taking hostages. There's reports of somewhere around 50 hostages, we don't really know the numbers at this point, that were intentionally rounded up and taken, both to use as a point of leverage. Hostages, very emotional issue within Israel, and also to complicate the Israeli government response. Netanyahu immediately responded by saying, we are at war, and saying, we're going to exact a horrific price or something like that on the enemy. We've already
like what we did on 9/11.
seen that retaliation begin. One of the first reported acts was to completely blow up and raise an entire apartment building. So I imagine there were quite a number of civilian casualties there. President Biden just gave a statement recently, which was very short and says exactly what you would expect him to say. We're with Israel 100%, and they have a right to defend themselves. So that's kind of where we are right now. There's a lot of domestic backstory here. Netanyahu is leading the most right-wing government in Israeli history. There's been escalating Israeli government and Jewish settler attacks on Palestinians. His credibility has been dramatically undermined both by corruption charges he's faced, but more recently, and I think more relevant to this situation, this attack on the independent judiciary, which has sparked mass protests across the entire state of.
Yeah, so they're also trying to bring about like where the blame lies on the Israel attack. So Netanyahu did have a big part in the blame. That's why over 80% of people in Israel who aren't brainwashed by our media here, like this happened over there, they can't really be fooled because this isn't happening overseas. Like this is on with them. Like they can't really be fooled by all this shit. It's happening. I said that like 3 times, right? Over 80% of them they blame Netanyahu. They want him to take responsibility for what happened on October 7th. So they're just trying to like bring up the fact that it's more nuanced because people tend to automatically jump to conclusions. So he's given a backstory.
Israel, and this really strikes at his sort of entire argument for his government, which is like, yeah, we're a bunch of hawkish right-wing psychos, but we'll keep you safe and we'll keep you secure. And obviously, there is no real security. This is not to justify any sort of attacks on civilians, but you're never going to have real peace and security so long as you have people effectively locked up in a cage for decades on end.
Yeah, so let's state what I think are the most obvious things in the world. Obvious thing number one.
So that is Israel's blame in the like in the attack. They're just trying to make sure that we get a both sides to this. Like, hey, both sides have some blame because at the end of the day, we really only have leverage on one side. We have leverage over Israel. We fund their government. We can tell them, like, I don't know, where Hamas is doing wrong. Firstly, nobody's going to support them. We're not going to have to focus a lot on, like, changing minds on that because everybody's going to know, yeah, they're wrong. Like, we're not going to have to, like, make strong arguments for that. Nobody needs to concentrate on that shit. But Israel, if they want to, like, they also have some blame, got us in this war to some extent. It's like, well, it doesn't matter how it started, but now they have a lot of influence to potentially change the outcomes. And you should negotiate with whoever you can negotiate with.
The biggest problems in our society is food waste. But now, also you can make a difference.
Okay, shut the fuck up.
Any and all attacks on civilians are always wrong, no matter who does it. In fact, that's the definition of terrorism when you're doing political or religious violence.
Okay, so just maybe not 2, maybe 1.5.
Who does it? In fact, that's the definition of terrorism when you're doing
peace and security so long as you have people effectively locked up in a cage for decades on end.
Yeah, so let's state what I think are the most obvious things in the world. Obvious thing number one. Any and all attacks on civilians are always wrong, no matter who does it. In fact, that's the definition of terrorism when you're doing political or religious violence against innocent civilians. And so, in no way, shape, or form should anybody be justifying or rationalizing those things. It's very sloppy, generalized thinking to just bring up, like, sides. Like, oh, like, what side are you on?
Right, like, these are the good guys and these are the bad guys, so I support whatever they do, no matter what it is.
Yeah, so 100% condemnation of Hamas targeting civilians in any way, shape, or form. Again, if people can't...
Okay, so that was the stance on October 7th.
He's an idiot, in my opinion. That's one big piece of it. The other big piece of it is the other thing that I think is incredibly obvious, which is, let's not pretend, as many people are, by the way, that this is quote-unquote unprovoked.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, nobody could have seen this coming, and why are they actually doing it? You'll see all sorts of theories. Well, they're just savages. They're just barbarians.
Yes, that's right. And that's what happens when you just say, oh, well, we're not going to negotiate anything or compromise anything with terrorists when you just go this peace through strength thing and you go full-fledged retard with it. Well, if you don't provoke them, maybe they don't do that sort of shit.
Justification that many people have given when you go back a decade or so.
And then when you just refuse to see any of your escalation as escalation, and you just keep escalating as if that's going to somehow de-escalate, so end the war, it's like, yeah, buddy, they're going to have the same mindset as you.
Oh, it's their religion.
Like, because they aren't too different from you. You're a terrorist, they're terrorists too. Israel is a terrorist, state. Not the people in there, but the government is a terrorist government. They're having a bunch of terrorist attacks on Gaza. Hamas is also terrorists. So they sort of see the world in that same way. Oh, well, look at what you did to us, so we're going to massacre a bunch of your civilians as if that's fine.
It's their religion and their culture that makes them
so they aren't too different.
They don't value life, and and that's why they're doing it. And the fact of the matter is, no, of course, at the core of it is exactly what you think it is. It's the endless occupation and apartheid and subjugation, and the ultra-Orthodox settlers have not exactly been...
So they're just trying to frame this as de-escalation, like what step we are in the escalation here. It's like there was already all this oppression, and then this comes next, because this is the next bed of both sides using civilians as their pawns. Firstly, you have, the last step that's really significant up to here is, well, the civilians, this is happening right now. They live under an occupation. That's pretty relevant. That's happening right now. But then, as a response to that, you have this. So here's what's going to keep happening as long as we keep going in this type of escalation.
Or hiding their aspirations.
But yeah, okay, so we got this next. Okay, Rational National. October 7th. What was his take on that? Jesus, he doesn't post a lot. Okay, was this on October 7th? He probably didn't post a video, until, okay, 2 days after. But by then, yeah, Israel had probably like already severely retaliated. Like, do we even need to go into all these people? Like, yeah, they obviously all condemned the
It's about
Hamas
asking the
attack.
question, why the United States supports Ukraine in fighting what they call occupation, while here they are supporting the occupier who continues to occupy us.
Hello. I do not know how to intro videos that are so depressing, but here we are. So in this video, I'm going to try and break down how this issue of Israel-Palestine is not complicated. It really isn't. I'm going to
well, usually aren't, but like it just breaks people's brains. I
what's
swear
been
to
going on
God.
recently. I'm going to show you a surprising video I found surprising from CNN, and there are actually a couple interviews that CNN's been doing that I find surprising in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, looking on Twitter would probably be a better way to determine. But
at the end, just
yeah, I'm curious what would they tweet like as soon as they learned the October attack happened. I'm guessing it was all like yeah, Israel the victim.
What the right thing to do is. He prioritizes his allies and what they want to do. Once again, Canada, not a leader on any issue. Incredibly embarrassing. But you have here recently
because he's from Canada,
from the NDP, one of the other parties. So in case you're not Canadian, right now the NDP is the third largest party in Canada. They recently came out to demand that Trudeau calls for a ceasefire, and they did this, as they say in their letter here, after more than 100,000 Canadians wrote to them asking, calling for a ceasefire, showing you that this sort of pressure does work. Now, yes, you need a lot more pressure when it comes to moving actual governments, because again, we're talking about just a party here. But
this is
why
know that you disprove
it's so important.
And again, how many Palestinians wanted a ceasefire? It's like, yeah, maybe the reason why Hamas removed elections because they're dictatorial is because they don't want to be acting on the behalf of their civilians, because their civilians don't have the same agenda as them. Their civilians don't want more power for Hamas. They just want to get better lives, because who the fuck doesn't just want that? Is like their main priority for like a bulk of people just getting to live better. They're like under an apartheid. Yeah, they want to like get better humanitarian conditions. Like, no shit, that's not Hamas's agenda. That's why we shouldn't blame like civilians on their elected leaders' choices. We don't have a ranked voting system again, and without a ranked voting system, like you really end up having two sides. Like the media will sort of prop up whoever there'll be more advertising. There'll be a lot of strategic. So like in a ranked voting system, Bernie might have won. Bernie would have had but like until then, for example, third parties, they don't have a chance. Like we're sort of pushed like two options upon us, and then we have to choose from those. Until we get ranked voting, that's sort of how it's gonna be. And these elected, like the two choices we have, again, there's a reason why you'll see so many, like, I was always confused by that when I was a kid. When I was a little kid, I always thought, like, there are so many people who I see around me who, like, holy shit, if they were president, imagine all they could do. And then just think about how many, like, millions of people there are in the United States, probably hundreds of millions. You could probably find, like, a good 100 that had made, like, just such phenomenal leaders that you can just blow your fucking mind. And we have these two options? What the fuck is this? Every time. And it's like, well, because it's being pushed on us to, like, people who just tend to support the status quo. And since the media also tends to go by that, again, not because they're lying, but because that's the culture. Culture changes over time. Just like the Bible, that's how we came to have the same holy scripture, because that stayed in our culture. We had God that's the most important part of our structure of our culture ever. We came to have a holy scripture, whether it be the Bible or the Quran, that preaches things explicitly that we take as holy. Anything in the Bible is by definition correct and all moral. We came to, as a culture, a majority of the people who worship that religion will not will disavow any of those opinions that their holy scripture, be it the Bible or the Quran, will hold. Like, fuck all the gays, no, most Christians and Muslims here will completely just object to that. So
to see tens of thousands of people in the streets all over the world marching for a ceasefire. So as City News writes here, demonstrations in support
that's
of
the
Gaza.
thing, like everybody could want that. Your elected leaders, they get to make the choice at the end of the day. But if they can see that like their people disagree with them, if they can see that there's more and more overwhelming support, they're going to go down in the polls. At the end of the day, if they become too unpopular, that parties are like the media and all, they're going to realize, oh shit, if we want to beat our opposition, we better form a better candidate and prop them up. And they don't have a lot of options because all of these people probably have horrible records compared to what the people want to see, because the people at like different levels, since we're making progress so fast these days. Like the status quo is making progress also faster than the corporate status quo is on many issues, and they're all sticking to one line because again, political parties, you have to go by one set of cookie cutter opinions to another set, so they can't just take the good ideas from one. Oh yeah, we're not gonna steal money from you to give it to the poor because that's wrong. Instead, we should concentrate on maybe make taxes optional and make them be the people's voice instead of being their stolen money, and have them be able to designate exactly how much of their money, how much of their taxpayer money they want to put into each cause, like that the people govern themselves instead of just having elected officials speak on their behalf, elected by the people but really hired by their donors. That's who pays their checks, that's who get them into power, get them to be able to have the political ads and stuff. It's like
Take place in at least
you're
2
gonna
dozen
have a
Canadian cities.
disconnect.
So this is in Ottawa, thousands there. This is in
It's
Toronto.
like we don't, yeah, what I was saying, we don't need all that shit. We don't need that middleman of the, we should be able to have our own like have autonomy over our own taxes, and also that should be a contract like that. It's still not stolen money. You can't like when you go to the store, you don't have to buy certain things for yourself, even if these things come back to you, they come back to the citizens. Well, different people, rich people don't benefit as much. Why should they have to pay as much in those taxes? Well, that can be a contract if you want the benefits from the government while you have to pay your taxes. Otherwise, you can't benefit from this and that and that. And then the government could also like use its power to, I don't know, incentivize big companies to like sort of agree with them with, oh yeah, we're not gonna allow non-taxpayers and stuff, and purposefully try to segregate taxpayers within the realms of democracy out of the system, so that they have a big incentive to want to contribute into the government by paying their taxes. And then you let them choose where their taxes are going, so that the people overall have their voice. And they can individually boycott those issues. But as long as we don't have that, one thing that we do have is we can tell Joe Biden, hey, we really disapprove of you, and if you don't stop doing this, if you don't, like, you're in charge, you could unilaterally stop this, just like you could have invoked the Bayh-Dole Act to just lower prescription medication. So many things you could have fucking done, right? The debt ceiling. With one thing, you could have unilaterally just said, we're getting rid of the debt ceiling. Just stop this whole fucking bullshit from happening. You could have done that. Well, here, this is a genocide. This is a fucking genocide. This is a big thing. Apparently another president did this back in the day. I don't know if it was Ronald Reagan, but they made a call. Maybe it was FDR. I don't fucking know. In one call, they ended a genocide that Israel was making. We fund Israel. We're so cocked up to them because like we're focused on winning the next election cycle. But again, it's not because we're just unprincipled and we care more about ourselves than a genocide and influencing it. It's because we're trying to look at the bigger picture, look at the grand scope of thing. And maybe these elected leaders, they think, oh, well, this is immoral. I really wish I could use my power for the better, but then that'd be the end of me, and I couldn't use my power in the future to like make to keep advocating for issues that I think are good. Like I just lose all my power over this one issue. So it's like the net good that I could have on this one issue versus the net good I could have for all the rest of the issues if I just like cuck up to myself, cuck up to this right here. It's not like, yeah, Tucker Carlson with the Dominion thing where he where he went with Trump's stolen election lies, where he was explicitly saying like, I hate this, I hate that I have to do this, but he, like, as everybody sort of would agree, he said in an episode, look, if I'm really cornered, I lie. And in this case, he really had to lie because he was in a situation where, oh shit, well, either I side with Trump on this issue, and it's like, oh, well, what's it worth? You're just gonna tell a bunch of people who already believe that the election is stolen. They heard it from the big dog first. It's like, doesn't matter what Tucker's gonna say to them. Oh, was the election stolen? Well, you tell me, I don't give a shit. Who fucking cares? It's like, that's not nearly as important as a genocide. Well, on issues like a genocide, Tucker Carlson saved us from a pointless war by going against Trump. So on these important issues, Tucker's going to be there for us. He'd be a great president. He'd be there when it matters the most. Civilians are getting killed. Tucker's not going to stand for it. And then he's going to bow down on less important stuff like, okay, y'all want to believe the election was stolen, whatever. Like, y'all gonna believe it anyway. Like, what the fuck do you expect? Like, especially him knowing a lot of his audience doesn't live up to his own standards that he has for himself for burden of proof. Like, he knows he has much harsher standards on himself than his audience does on him, thankfully. But, like, yeah, Tucker can see, okay, on this issue of war, if I need to lose my job over this, whatever, I don't give a shit. I'm going to tell Trump, no, you have to stop this war. And look at that, Trump listened to him. And he could, stop a pointless war. You have him to thank. But then, yeah, Trump won the election. Fucking, okay, sure, buddy. I mean, and since he's such a principled guy, even on such an issue like that, where it didn't even matter what he was gonna say anyway. Like, people already had their stance. Like, Trump voters a lot of the time, especially at that point. But, if they had their mindset, he was even saying, dude, I hate lying to these people. This is wrong. They rely on, like, this feels like I'm betraying them and I'm betraying them, but I have to do this. And it's pretty clear why, because what if there's another pointless war? Look at him. He's now no longer on Fox News, no longer getting to do this. But look at what he'd be doing on Fox News. Just consider what he's doing on his show. He's just hemorrhaging these war people, saying, no, let's stop this shit. We don't need to be getting involved in Israel. Just, and imagine on Fox News if he had gone to take this anti-war position. Now, he'd be so crucial. He'd be like such a crucial voice, and we don't have him anymore. Well, he was reserving that for the next time this happened. Now, he got taken off of the rug. I saw Chen Kruger and people like that celebrating. I covered that. Well, look at him now. He could be a very influential voice, but Joe Biden, like, he's probably also not bad faith. Thinks, oh, well, I could prevent Trump from getting in power, but if I do that, like, the Israel lobby could, like, turn against me, and that could, but then you're the incumbent president, and I don't know, there's probably a lot of people pulling the strings behind him. The Jews, no. Israel, for example, yeah, sure. But wow, that was a long-ass monologue, wasn't it? Jews for Palestine. Yeah, these people, I'm sure they condemn the October 7th attack, by the way. Which is, fuck it, would you condemn Hamas? Yeah, these people fucking clearly do, so it's self-evident. So you don't even need to fucking ask that question. Yeah, that's good meme. I wonder if the police fucking tackles them.
This is at night in Toronto. After 5 hours, tens of thousands.
Yeah, like, they would probably tackle the fucking, like, LGBT protesters. Like, they don't do that to the BLM protesters. The BLM protesters tend to do that to the fucking police. But, like, I don't know, apparently if you're, like, in Florida, I don't know I'm going on that. Actually, no. Trudeau's on it. Jesus. Is this like New York? I see some skyscrapers. Well, this is Hong Kong.
Ceasefire is really the bare minimum. And you can't even get world leadership to agree to that. Because, of course, the larger issue at play here is the ongoing occupation, the apartheid. But it all begins with the ceasefire. all these people are calling for, these tens of thousands, I would say millions worldwide, maybe not in the streets, but
There's a video a lot more of this. I mean, dude, to be honest, I should probably end, well, it's a recording now, it's no longer really a stream, but yeah, fuck it, dude. Alright, peace.